6 deadline. Blazers coach Chauncey Billups will miss his team's next 2 games following the death of his grandmother. NHL, the Red Wings have fired Coach Derek Lalonde and replaced him with Todd McClellan. College bowl action on ESPN at the half. The game above Sports Bowl, Toledo leading Pitt 20-12. Coming up on ESPN Radio with coverage at 5 Eastern. The Rate Bowl between Rutgers and Kansas State.
Hey, what's up? It's Aaron Goldhammer coming up on Friday. We're going to get you ready for a loaded Week 17 slate in the NFL. It's unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's ride! Woo!
Off and running here on another edition of After Further Review Thursday, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing Service. Musso in for Moscona. Scone again back on January 2nd, so he is finished here in 2024. We'll be back with you in 2025. Hope everybody had a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. We steamroll towards the new year. We have plenty to still talk about. LSU getting prepared for a bowl game. Obviously, there's transfer portal. The Saints, while it doesn't really feel like it, they play another game in, 2.5 days or so when they welcome in the Vegas Raiders to the Superdome on Sunday. Mike Triplett, of course, will be along here in the 5 o'clock hour in his weekly spot as well. We got college football playoffs, and we got a ton to get to here today. Jacob Beck, Taylor Sharp along for the ride as well. And again, happy to have you along for the ride too. And we'll go ahead and just get started how we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
All right, so yes, LSU plays a bowl game on New Year's Eve. They face Baylor in the Texas Bowl. By now, you know that. But it feels like all eyes are still on the transfer portal for the Tigers, and rightfully so. That is kind of where your focus should be fixed. If you're anything like me, if you're anything like I think the majority of people who follow the LSU program, while, we'll have time for the bowl game on New Year's Eve, your focus is on the future. And the future right now is what LSU's doing in the transfer portal. When last we spoke, LSU was sitting on 13 portal commitments with 2 really must positions remaining, safety and offensive tackle. Well, here we are after the Christmas holiday, and LSU is sitting on 13 transfer portal commitments with 2 must positions remaining, safety and offensive tackle. So what gives a little bit? And, I think you ask that just out of pure human nature, maybe after the fast start that LSU got off to in the transfer portal. And you look at kind of some of the things that did transpire with LSU targets over the last couple of days, and you're like, okay, well, wait a minute. Are they cooling off, or is this part of a bigger plan? And that's kind of what I want to look into a little bit here today as we start the show. LSU, when it came to safety, the name that was really popping up as of late after Zachariah Poizner committed to Miami was Tawfiq Byard. Transfer safety out of the University of South Florida. We had talked about him plenty. A guy who redshirted his first season down there in Tampa, played in 5 games, but still was able to maintain the red shirt because of bowl games, not counting to an eligibility. And then in 24, really took a jump, right? I mean, over 50 tackles, started all 12 games, a couple sacks, an interception. Really took a jump. Visited LSU. Full 2 official day visit, saw bowl practice, met the coaches, all of those things. And over the Christmas holiday, committed to Coach Prime and Colorado. So he will not be a part of LSU's 2025 transfer portal class at a big position of need in safety. I think when I look at that, and again, it's always with recruiting, you could fall into a trap of, okay, the guy didn't show up at my school. They never really wanted him. And that's not the direction I'm going to go here, although I don't necessarily think Byard is exactly what LSU was looking for. And again, I think that points to the grander scheme of what they're going for here down the stretch in the transfer portal. Let me explain. while Byard is a very talented player, has starting experience in the FBS, group of 5, but in the FBS, he's still a little raw. This is a guy with 3 years of eligibility remaining. When you look at what LSU has brought in this transfer portal cycle, what has it been? It has been day one, immediate impact, plug-and-play starter, right? Think Braylon Moore. Think Mansour Delane. Think Nick Anderson, Bauer Sharp. On and on and on and on. Think Patrick Payton. When I look at a guy like Byard, again, while, sure, if he wanted to come here, you would have absolutely taken him, because who's to say he wouldn't have been that guy and couldn't have helped you? I'm sure he could have helped you. The production, absolutely there, but still raw. 3 years left, still maybe a bit of, okay, not the sure thing. If there is such thing as a sure thing, maybe that's not necessarily it. So if you're looking at this from an LSU perspective, it's, hey, we gave our best pitch. The chips fell where they fell, and you move on into the future. What does that future look like, and how much time does LSU really have left? Because it's not just safety. There's also the offensive lineman out of Northwestern, Josh Thompson, that LSU had been linked to heavily, and plenty of people. And again, over the Christmas holiday, Pete Nakos from On3 logged an expert prediction for Thompson to land at Tennessee. Others have followed, and it seems that really all directions point towards Knoxville on that one. So those are 2 targets you were in on, both going elsewhere. What's next? And Thompson, again, multi-year starter, Power 4 level. Sure, you would have loved to have had that. Brian Kelly talked about this when he met with the media last Saturday, when we played you the audio of this on Monday. And he spoke about getting off to maybe a faster start. They had a clear plan that they want to accomplish. They know the direction that they're going. Some of it just happened faster than maybe they even thought. They expected this to be a longer process. And Brian Kelly said now it might be that longer process as they look for a couple of positions left. He would go on to say in that same media availability, the number they really kind of want to hit on is 15 transfers. That leaves you 2 spots. Fill in the blank. Safety, most likely offensive tackle, going to do that. Can those numbers change? Absolutely. They already have throughout this cycle. Remember, it was 12. Now it's 15. You get a couple guys that you really want, and then you need to take a depth piece, because LSU's roster turnover might not be done yet either. And that's where the longevity of this comes in, right? The transfer portal December window officially ends on Saturday. That's when the portal closes. But the caveat there is it actually really doesn't, at least not for everybody. For the majority of college football, Saturday's the end. If you're still playing, so including a team like LSU who plays on New Year's Eve. This is bowl teams. This is college football playoff teams. After your last game of the season, your roster has 5 days to enter the transfer portal. So there's going to be more additions. There's going to be more subtractions from certain teams. And there'll be a new bumper crop of players in. And if you're looking at this from an LSU perspective, and Brian Kelly even said in his media availability last Saturday that there's still some guys who haven't made their intentions known that are still playing. So that tells you they've got their antennas up for potential options, and they're waiting for some of those to play out. Those could be guys in the college football playoff, bowl games, whatever. You're going to have that second influx into, call it the December portal window, even though it'll be after December the 28th. What this also does, again, LSU being in that number, playing on New Year's Eve, it gives you a chance to evaluate your roster. You're going to see a lot of young guys play in this bowl game at offensive tackle and safety, whether that be Deshaun Spears, whether that be a guy like Joel Rogers, or Javian Toviano, who they've moved to safety kind of permanently now. You're going to get to see that, and you're going to see where you are. Jordan Gilbert's going to play in the bowl game. What his future might hold after that, who knows? You wait and see, and you'll see really where you need to go. But when you think of LSU's safety room, you think of Rogers, you think of Spears, you think of Osbury, you think of Toviani, you think of a lot of young, inexperienced guys who kind of fit that same mold as Tawfiq Byard. So it makes sense that, okay, you don't go fully all in there. When you look at offensive line, you're losing 4 out of your 5 starters, and all of them are either out of eligibility or going to the draft. I mean, you're looking at 3, 4-year, 5-year guys in some instances even there. You're going to have a lot of young guys play. Paul Mubenga, DJ Chester, Bo Bordelon, Tyree Adams. You've been high on a lot of those guys. You could see Cohen Eccles rotate in there, right? You've been high on Weston Davis. You've been high on a lot of those guys. See where you stand. For me, LSU still needs to go out there and grab a day one starter at safety because that is your weakest position. It's where you were weakest all season on both sides of the ball, and that needs to be fixed. And at tackle as well. And the guys you were looking at, use Byard and Thompson as an example here, didn't necessarily fit that, and you know you have more coming down the pike. I'm A-okay with this strategy that they're employing. There is no reason right now for any of us to not trust this staff in this portal window. We could talk about what's happened in previous years. Fine. There's been turnover on the staff. There's all of that. In this portal window, with what because they've done everything they said they were going to do. Every promise they put forth, they have met up until this point. They were going to be aggressive. They were going to spin. They were going to fill needs with starters. They've done it all. So you have no reason to trust that they won't continue to do that. Looking forward with safety and offensive tackle, their 2 biggest needs. You got a lot of time left to evaluate your own team and to wait for people who are still playing to officially make their intentions known on what they do. LSU is willing to play the long game here when it comes to the transfer portal after such a fast start, and I'm good with that. Roster building is a science, a calculated science. And they're off to a great start when it comes to 2025. Let's let them finish out the right way and see where that goes. Lot to still be excited about. And you know what? It's cooled a little bit. Not necessarily a bad thing. That shows patience. I really, really like patience. That shows detail. That shows being intentional. Things that Brian Kelly has preached ever since he's gotten here. And now they're doing it on a much grander scale when it comes to building the roster for 2025. We'll keep you updated. You know that. We'll be here, obviously, Friday, and then Monday, take a couple days off for the new year and be back on the 2nd. Matt will be back in the chair, and he'll have the very latest on that. But until then, we will keep you updated with anything that comes across the desk when it comes to LSU and the transfer portal. We're going to grab a break. It is Thursday's AFR, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Musso in for Scone. When we come back, we'll talk some Saints. Not necessarily what you think, because there is nothing from Monday Night Football really worth talking about as the Saints lost 34-0. We'll look more towards the future. Bill Barnwell with an interesting piece up at ESPN. We'll tell you about that next here on AFR.
AFR.
If your New Year's resolution as a business owner is going to be to finally become more efficient within your business, to help that bottom line, to help your productivity, let Glow Resources help. Yes, they specialize in skilled blue-collar labor. So if that's what you're looking for, they can help you find the people you need, meeting all the requirements for the specific job that you have. But at Glow Resources, they also have their professional placement division. Y'all, it's so much fun when I go over to Glow Resources. I mean that seriously. Like, one of the things Jareth Knockan has done amazingly well is just building culture. They are fun to work with. When you walk into the office, you'll start just by understanding the design. He had the interior decorator come in and we're like, just go ham. Do what you think would look great. It's pretty amazing. There's a story behind everything in the office. People love to work there, and they love to do business with you. If you need help finding the right people, you need Glow Resources. GLO, glowresources.com.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
Reminds you about Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com with 30 offices across 11 different states. If you weigh or measure something, Michelli sells, services, rents the products used to weigh and measure. No matter where you are, you can ship your precision measurement devices to Michelli and they'll calibrate them for you, send them back, or they'll just come to your office, pick them up, and bring them back. They can also do on-site calibration. If you have equipment that can't leave or you don't want it to leave, they can come do on-site calibrations as well with their mobile calibration labs. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement, online at Michelli.com. Louisiana-born, Louisiana-owned and operated for 76 years. They've continued to grow, expand their footprint while maintaining that local ownership, local feel, handshake deals, face-to-face sales. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement. They're also hiring. Check out the careers tab at Michelli.com. Again, online at Michelli.com, Michelli.com.
Thursday edition of AFR rolling along here. We're just pushing off from the dock, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Mike Triplett still to come later in the show. We'll talk Saints with Mike. We have updated college football playoff odds, the winner of the playoff. We'll go ahead and run through those a little bit later on, tell you what they mean for what we should expect from the upcoming quarterfinals on New Year's Eve and on New Year's Day. So plenty to get here. Darren Rizzi actually should be meeting with the media actually right now, but timing on that varies, we'll just say, kind of throughout the week. But anything of note we'll pass along. We'll have a look at the injury report ahead of Saints Raiders as well later in the show. For now, when we move the conversation to New Orleans Saints, I want to talk about the future of the New Orleans Saints. You know, it was funny when we did the show tease back on Monday, mentioned we're going to recap Monday Night Football, all those things. Yeah, we're not going to recap Monday Night Football because there's just nothing of note. You lost 34-0 to the Green Bay Packers. It was not competitive. Spencer Rattler was under constant duress. You couldn't stop them. All the things that we kind of expected when we previewed the game, where I said, yeah, look, it's a 14.5-point line. I expect the Packers to win and cover, mainly just because I don't know how the Saints are going to score. And lo and behold, they didn't. So that's really all I got for you on that game. I'm much more interested in the future. You lost 34-0. You've been eliminated from playoff contention. You're playing the Raiders and then the Bucs. You're probably going to go 1-1 in those games, and then you'll move on into the future and what's next in your organization when it comes to head coaching, draft, all of those things. So head coaching is obviously where we're going to focus with that. And a few weeks back, Matt and I did this exercise where he sat in here and played the role of Ben Johnson, right? Just because, we know Ben Johnson is the biggest name on the coaching market this season. He's going to have his pick. Every opening will interview Ben Johnson. He is that candidate. And this is the third year in a row, it feels like, that he's been that candidate. So Matt played the role of Ben Johnson. I played the role of the agent, right? And we went through a certain amount of jobs that we thought would come open. I think we had 5. At that point, Saints and Jets were the only 2 that were actually open. And then we added a couple more. Giants, Jags. I think even at that point, there was a lot of the smoke around Mike McCarthy, so we had the Cowboys in there and whatnot. And we kind of went through and we ranked coaching vacancies. For what it's worth, we landed on the Jaguars, if it comes open, as the best. Well, Thursday at ESPN.com, Bill Barnwell did the same thing. He ranked 9 potential and current head coach openings in the NFL from ugliest to most desirable. The caveat here that I will throw out before getting in there is, again, there's only 3 that are actually open. New Orleans, the Jets, and the Bears. Everything else on Bill's piece is speculation. But he came up with 9. I won't bury the lead. If you're sitting here listening and thinking to yourself, the Saints are number 9, aren't they? Bill Barnwell thinks they're the worst head coach opening in the NFL. You're correct. Yes, the Saints checked in at number 9. For what it's worth, he also had the Jags listed and had them listed at number 1, just as we kind of came to conclusion here on this show. If the Jags move on, that is going to be an incredibly desirable place to be. But what I want to do is not necessarily focus so much on the hypothetical, because there's going to be more coaching. Like week 18 is coming up fast and furious. You'll have Black Monday. You'll have a bunch more openings. And a lot of them are probably the ones on this list from Barnwell, like the Giants, like the Raiders, potentially, all of those things. I mean, for goodness sake, they got people flying planes over MetLife when the Giants are playing, telling Mara to sell the team. But looking at just the three that are open, where do the Saints rank? Saints, Jets, Bears. And for me, this is really a conversation of Saints and Jets right now, because I think the Bears are better than both of those. The Bears are not without their problems, don't get me wrong. I mean, they have plenty. But you have in Chicago some of the things that you have in New Orleans, but you also have a young quarterback that you're staking your franchise to in Caleb Williams. You have an infinitely better cap situation. There's going to be some turnover on that team and that roster because there's guys that probably just aren't happy and you're going to move on, but a lot of them have tradable contracts as well. And you can move on that way. There's a lot to go around in Chicago. Do you lack top-end talent? Yeah, a little bit. Are you in one of the toughest divisions? Well, this season you're in the toughest division in the NFC North. But again, quarterback, cap space, ownership, all of those things outweigh what the Saints have. So of the three openings that are official, yeah, Chicago is the best, and they should be. And for what it's worth, they checked in at number 3 on Barnwell's list. So when it comes down to the New Orleans Saints and the New York Jets, this is, for me, really a coin flip. Because I can make a case either way. Like, I can make a case that the Saints is a better opening than the New York Jets. And it starts 100% with ownership as to why. Woody Johnson is nuts. Like, it's hard for me to ever look at a job opening in professional sports, not just the NFL, in professional sports where ownership is bad, and say, yeah, that's a desirable place to be. Like, if Carolina was open again this season, would anyone consider them a good opening or a desirable place to be with Tepper? No, because he's a moron and can't keep his hands out of his own team. Again, you could say, hey, Moose, it's his team, it's his prerogative. Sure, but then again, what you're doing isn't working. Pouring drinks on fans isn't working. All the things that he's done outside of just the bad football decisions. The same can be said with the Saints and with the Jets and Woody Johnson. That's just not a good spot. He's not patient. You have the reports about his sons being involved in decisions. How true all those are, I don't know, but that's bad optics, and that didn't just come from nowhere. And then you look at the flip side of the coin and you look at Ms. Gale, and while there could be things said, okay, is Ms. Gale really that great of an owner in sports? Here's one thing that she is. She's willing to spend, she's patient, and she trusts, again, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, she trusts the people in her front office under her to make the right choice and to once again win at a high clip. If I had the choice to go work for Gail Benson or Woody Johnson, I'm going to pick Gail Benson every time. The other thing with the Jets, and again, this is where it's like, okay, is this actually a pro or a con for the Saints? The Jets are going to have to hire a new general manager because they can that guy too. Mickey Loomis is going to be back. Do I think that's the right move? No, I don't, but it points to stability there where instead of trying to match, you're still trying to match a head coach and a general manager in both situations, but in the Jets situation, it's a little more hairy because you're bringing in guys that are both going to be new on that job. There isn't familiarity with the franchise or anything of that nature. The one thing that the Jets have that the Saints don't is the young core. Is that enough to really look at it and put them over the top? Because while you have the young core, it's kind of late in the game if you're the Jets. And I know a lot of you are probably saying, what about Aaron Rodgers? I'll get to Aaron Rodgers. you look at the Jets, I mean, you've got Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner, Jermaine Johnson, and Breece Hall. That's a really good young core on both sides. That's 2 offensive and 2 defensive. The problem is they're all eligible for extensions this offseason. I don't think you're going to be able to extend all of them, because another similarity between the Saints and the Jets is their cap situation. Both of them stinks. Both of them are not in a good spot there. Saints are worse, so that's a check mark towards the Jets, but they both still have issues with cap. You would eat up about the 31 and a half, depending on where you look, million in cap space if you were to try to re-sign all 4 of those guys and keep your young core. And oh, by the way, you still have to figure out the quarterback issue. Because, y'all, Aaron Rodgers was asked the other day if he thought he'd be back in New York, and his response was, ask Woody. And look, the production from Rodgers has slipped. The Jets are guaranteed a worse record in 2024 with Aaron Rodgers than they finished with in 22 or 23. A lot of those were with Zach Wilson. You're not in a good spot quarterback there, but then again, neither are the Saints. You're tied to Derek Carr. He's mid at best, and you'll go forth with that, and we all know what that is. I think when I actually look at this and I lay this out, it's hard for me to not look at this and be like, I'd actually think the Saints are the better job opening than the New York Jets right now. Media market aside, all of that, like location and all that, definitely favors the Jets. But if you're just looking at on field, even with the Saints' issues on field and in the roster, which they have, the dysfunction that is the New York Jets is off-putting to me if I were a potential head coaching candidate. So I would actually have the Saints as the number 2 current opening and the Jets behind them. I'd love to hear y'all's thoughts. If you disagree with me, get in the Bayou Ford YouTube chat. If you agree, get in the Bayou Ford YouTube chat. Twitter as well, at Musso Matthew. But coin flip for me, and I'm calling Saints in the air and see if it lands, face up on that coin flip. So, again, for all the issues the Saints have in the front office, and there's plenty, and those have been well documented here and probably on any talk medium and really in country that bring up the New Orleans Saints. I like the consistency in ownership, the patience of the ownership, and the willingness to win over just about anything that the Jets can provide. Is that enough to land Ben Johnson? I don't know. Probably not. Was it enough to get you a head coach that you're ready to take a chance on, that you believe in going forward? Yeah, it is. Is it enough to make you a desirable location? Yeah, it is. Not the most, but not the least either. We'll see. Long, busy offseason ahead of Mickey Loomis, Jeff Ireland, and Gail Benson as they look to restore the Saints. A rebuild is in need, but if history has shown us anything, they're going to go all in and see what they can do. They won't have many more chances to do that, but probably the direction that they're going to take. All right, we're going to grab a break. We will come back on the other side. I have some thoughts on the eligibility waiver that the NCAA just granted in relation to the Diego Pavia court case. Give you some of those thoughts as well. We will go around the SEC, and a former Saints quarterback is back in the league. We'll talk about all of that as we roll along here on hour number 1 of a Thursday edition of AFR, presented by Decision Critical.
AFR.
Brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. 752-001-752-0001, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. I love sharing 5-star Google reviews. Here's one from Ricky Gomez, who said Chris, his technician, was very professional and knowledgeable during the HVAC evaluation. He provided details and recommendations in a clear and concise manner. That's one of the things that always stands out. If you're having an issue with your AC or your heater, and River City's 1 Hour Air sends out a technician for an evaluation, they're going to explain your options to you. And that may sound simple, but none of it, I don't know anything about an HVAC, neither do you. Let's be honest. So whenever they go get up in your attic or they go look at your HVAC unit on the side of your house and they come talk to you, like they're going to explain very clearly what's happening and your options to remedy it. It's River City's 1 Hour Air. Look for the big yellow vans and trucks with the giant clock on the side. 752-0001.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalvr.com.
Brought to you by Shawbills Tire and Auto Service, ShawbillsTire.com. 18 locations in South Louisiana. Find the location nearest you at ShawbillsTire.com. Bumper-to-bumper auto service and name brand tires at wholesale prices. They will always find a way to get you the best possible price for the best possible tires on the road. That's what they do at Shawbills. And when they get you in by selling you the best tires, the cheapest price possible, they're going to treat you like family, and they're going to treat you so good, you're going to keep coming back year after year after year, every time you need anything for your vehicle. Tires rotated, oil changed, check engine light on, brakes squeaking, whatever's wrong with your vehicle, bring it to Shawbills. Let them give it the once-over, and you can always schedule online, so it's convenient. ShawbillsTire.com. Find the location nearest you at ShawbillsTire.com. Shop tires online at ShawbillsTire.com. Be sure to ask about the Shawbills credit card as well, because you can save $50 off your first purchase when you use the Shawbills credit card only at Shawbills.
All right, we're all aware of the situation with Diego Pavia and him seeking the extra year of eligibility and suing the NCAA for those. Then a federal judge in Tennessee granted an injunction to allow Pavia, former JUCO guy, an extra year of eligibility next fall. The NCAA has appealed that decision, but in the process of appealing that decision, also kind of admitting defeat, they have granted a waiver for ex-JUCO players in Diego Pavia's same position an extra year of eligibility. So what that means is I think it's really easy to look at this and be like, they just gave immunity to all junior college players. Not necessarily. It's solely if you're in the position of Diego Pavia, where players who started their career in junior college and would have exhausted their NCAA eligibility following this academic calendar, 24-25. They get the extra year in 25-26. So if you're a junior college guy and you're immediately coming into college football or college baseball or college basketball or any sport, right now, you don't have this waiver. Or if you have already, if you still have a year of eligibility left, you don't get this waiver. Now, the caveat to that is eventually you will. There's no other way this can end than players from junior college having their eligibility not impacted by their time in junior college. It's not NCAA sanctioned. Why should it count against your eligibility? And if you're looking at Diego Pavia, his whole argument was not only did it take years away from my eligibility, it impacted my ability to, gain on my name, image, and likeness to make money in NIL. None of that's going to change just because you granted an extra year to kids who played in junior college and now their eligibility is gone in this season. That's not going to change. You've opened Pandora's box once again because you were going to lose in court, and now we're all going to have to deal with this. And as much as I agree with the premise here, because you not playing in the NCAA shouldn't in no way count against your eligibility as an NCAA athlete. Like, that just kind of sounds like common sense, doesn't it? But then again, a lot of these issues everyone's had with the NCAA has sounded like common sense, and that's kind of why you are where you are right now. But I also don't love that this would definitely impact high school athletics negatively. And let me get this straight, too. There could be some lower-level college sports that this actually impacts positively. But outside looking in, this does feel like another loss for high school athletes looking to just break in to college athletics as freshmen. Because now, with the transfer portal, that was one hit. NIL, you're going to pay the proven guy more potentially than you would high school unless you're the CEO of Oracle. And now with you're an opportunity to go get a junior college kid and then potentially have 4 years of eligibility. Again, potentially down the road, because that's coming. Like there's no way that isn't the final outcome of this. Because everything that Diego Pavia is standing for, everyone else who's ever played junior college athletics has the same gripe. It starts with 1 year, and then it's going to trickle down to everyone else. I could see both sides of the coin, where I think that's great for college athletics, and I also think it's not, just because you're making it harder in a sense for kids to break in, I think, to college athletics. And again, you could also say, well, look, there's not that many junior college players who rise up and make it maybe to the level of a Diego Pavia or someone like that. And that's fair. Not everybody who plays junior college is going to get that next opportunity at the next level. Again, that's where you can see both sides of the coin. And I don't disagree. I think that's very fair. But I think that number is probably more than you think of players that do get that opportunity. And that it just adds another layer of complication to everything else going on in college athletics, not just college football. In college athletics, again, this is going to impact everyone there. Eventually, it will impact every sport. And if you ask me, yeah, eventually, doesn't matter what year you played, junior college years are not going to count towards your eligibility in major conference, Division I, NCAA athletics. We'll see. Regardless, Diego Pavia will be back at Vanderbilt next season, and LSU has to make a trip to Nashville. So you'll see him again in 2025. All right, it's after further review. Thursday show presented by Decision Critical. Musso in for Moscona right now. Let's go ahead and go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference. The South Carolina Gamecocks.
Speaking of NIL and cashing in, South Carolina broke off Lenora Sellers over the Christmas holiday. The Garnet Trust, South Carolina Collective, on Christmas Eve announced that Lenora Sellers would be staying in Columbia through the 2025 season. The terms of the deal, while not immediately announced, On3 estimates Sellers' valuation at $2.7 million, which would be 7th in the country. Take that for what it's worth. It's been long thought that those numbers aren't accurate. But again, long time coming here for Sellers. This wasn't just spur of the moment. He finished his redshirt freshman season on a 6-game winning streak, just shy of 3,000 yards and 24 touchdowns. The Gamecocks play Illinois in the Cheez-It Bowl, the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl on New Year's Eve.
The Mississippi State Bulldogs.
Couple of portal additions to get to here for the Bulldogs. We'll start with Darren Reed. He's an Auburn transfer, former top 100 player in the class of 2023. 6'4", 285 pounds. Chose the Bulldogs over Colorado and others. A native of Columbus, Georgia. He did redshirt his first season with the Tigers. Overall has played in 3 games over 2 seasons, but has not recorded any stats. Again, a former top 100 player has committed to Mississippi State. And then also a familiar name to many around here, South Alabama running back Fluff Bothwell has also pledged to Mississippi State and Jeff Lebby. Just finished his freshman season in Mobile, over 800 yards rushing, 13 touchdowns. Number 3 transfer back in the portal. Mississippi State looking at 16 commits out of the portal.
The Tennessee Volunteers.
As we mentioned earlier, teams whose season's just in, their players have 5 days after that last game to enter the portal. Tennessee taking advantage of that. 3 Vols have entered the portal. Quarterback Gaston Moore, tight end Charlie Broder, and defensive back Christian Harrison. We'll start with Moore, a UCF transfer. Spent 4 seasons in Knoxville, saw action in 14 games, but only 6 pass attempts. He's got 1 year left. Browder, also a former UCF Knight before transferring over to the Vols. Redshirted as a freshman, has played in just 6 games across 3 seasons at Tennessee. And then Christian Harrison has played in 25 games during his 3 years, played in all 12 in 2024, 20 tackles, including 2.5 for a loss. They are in the portal, leaving Tennessee.
The Auburn Tigers.
Auburn cornerback Keontae Scott has entered the transfer portal. That is courtesy of On3's Pete Nakos. Made that decision on Thursday. Will have 1 year of eligibility left, or I guess we should say at least 1 year of eligibility left. Why? Because, well, he started his career in junior college before transferring to Auburn. Did start primarily as a nickel, but his starting role is diminished. Started just 4 games in 2024, but played in 23 starts over his career.
The Alabama Crimson Tide.
Class of 2026 news. Alabama landed a holiday commitment from Zion Gibson. He's a cornerback. Announced his decision on Christmas Eve. Chose the Tide over Auburn, Miami, and Tennessee. Number 9 cornerback in the country. Number 69 overall prospect in the country. Commit number 1 for Kalen DeBoer and his staff in the class of 2026.
The Texas Longhorns.
And lastly, Colin Simmons has been named the Sean Alexander National Freshman of the Year. Edge rusher, that award giving out by the Maxwell Football Club. Beat out 4 other finalists. He's a former 5-star out of Duncanville, appeared in 12 games for Texas so far in 2024. 39 tackles, 8 sacks, and 3 forced fumbles as a freshman, along with an interception. Sean Alexander, Freshman of the Year. Colin Simmons. Texas, of course, faces Arizona on New Year's Eve in the college football playoff quarterfinals. There you have it. That is around the SEC. This is after further review. Again, Musso in for Moscona. Scone back on January 2nd, so you'll see him in 2025. We're keeping the train on the tracks here for the rest of 2024. 1 segment to go here in hour number 1 of AFR. Former Saints quarterback coming out of retirement. He's back in the league. We'll tell you who and where when we return next on AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Darren James and Associates, brokered by LPT Realty. Every home listed by every company, all in one place. You know where to find them. Agent225.com. Agent225.com. Talking to all y'all over in Lafayette as well in the 337. Darren James has an office over in Lafayette. If you need to sell your home in the 337, you need Darren James. The number 1 realtor in the state of Louisiana, the number 14 realtor in America on the Wall Street Journal's Real Trends list of the top 1% of realtors in America. That came out just a couple of weeks ago. I'm so proud, so fired up for Darren. I've told you for years that he's the best. And Darren has a way of making you feel like, despite all the volume he does, that you are his only client. He's exceptional at the entire process of communicating throughout and getting you results. Number 14 in America on the transaction side. It's Darren James. 335-7666 or agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
Ordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial properties. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalvr.com.
We're brought to you by South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com, southpointvw.com. Y'all, if you're near, or we are near the end of the year, obviously, get on by and see our friends at South Point Volkswagen. If you're trying to snag a deal at the end of the year, great time to do it. The best savings yet on their most popular models. You can get the 2024 Volkswagen Atlas or Crossport, which is what I drive, for 0.9% APR for 60 months or up to $3,500 customer bonus. If you prefer the Tiguan, 0% APR or up to $2,500 customer bonus. Get by South Point Volkswagen, Airline just north of Highland Airline just north of Highland, or online to see all the deals at southpointvw.com. South Point Volkswagen, what's your direction?
Closing out hour number 1 here on a Thursday edition of AFR presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Notes starting to trickle in out of Saints practice today. Darren Rizzi wrapping up with the media. We'll pass along anything that comes of note. We'll have kind of a full look at the injury report as well as participation and things of note from Darren Rizzi to start the 4 o'clock hour. So be here for that. Interesting news from Ian Rappaport earlier today that Teddy Bridgewater, Teddy Two Gloves, fan favorite New Orleans Saint quarterback Teddy Bridgewater is back in the NFL, set and expected to sign with the Detroit Lions as Jared Goff's backup, primary backup, veteran backup for a playoff run here. Of course, Hendon Hooker serves as the backup for Goff currently. Interesting turn of events here, though. So if you're not familiar with Teddy Bridgewater's story since he retired from the NFL, he went back to his alma mater, Northwest Miami High School, became the head coach, won the state championship here in 2024, and now is headed back to the NFL. Bridgewater spoke to both Ian Rappaport and Tom Pelissero and said that this was actually always the plan. His team knew about it, where, look, we're going to go out there, win a state championship. I'm going to head back, sign with the team, see what happens. If nothing, comes to fruition, I'll be back in February, focused back on high school football in the 2025 season. So I guess we're in phase 2 of that plan. Happy for Teddy Bridgewater, man. Look, this move obviously makes all the sense in the world. The final team he was with in the NFL was the Detroit Lions in 2023. Familiar with Dan Campbell from that. Of course, familiar with Dan Campbell in their time together in New Orleans, but already familiar with Ben Johnson in that offense. And he gets to go to a contender again. And you know what? If you need another reason, at least in these parts, to root for the Detroit Lions, Teddy Bridgewater is that reason. He was beloved down here in Southeast Louisiana, specifically in New Orleans, and for him to potentially finally get over the hump, get a Super Bowl ring, albeit maybe in a backup role, I think that would be absolutely awesome. So Teddy Bridgewater, back in the NFL, expected to sign with the Detroit Lions and help them through their playoff push, although they really actually probably need him more at running back or defensive tackle if he could swing one of those positions. But nonetheless, he'll be with the Lions as they push towards their first Super Bowl appearance and title in franchise history. You know what? I wish him the best. Again, if you needed another reason to root for the Lions, Teddy Two Gloves. That's your reason. All right, that's just about going to do it here for hour number 1. We will come back on the other side, get you updated on everything from Saints practice. It's AFR. Stay here.
AFR.
Quick reminder about Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com. lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. They're the best. If you are, gentlemen, thinking about popping the question and you're thinking about where am I going to go buy that diamond, I want you to consider this. There are places that will sell you man-made lab diamonds, but what are you buying? It's according to its makeup and characteristics, sure, diamond. But is it going to hold its value? Like, is that the way you want to say, I love you, I want to spend the rest of my life with you? Go to Lee Michaels. Go to Lee Michaels. Walk in the door. Experience the thing I talk about all the time, which is the Lee Michaels experience. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry with 10 locations. Baton Rouge, 2 locations in Baton Rouge. New Orleans, Lafayette, Shreveport, Mississippi, Texas as well. 10 locations across 3 states. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Thrill her, gentlemen. Thrill her with a gift in the red box from Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. BRAC, your #1 park system in the nation.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Pressure coming, throws quickly and intercepted at the 35.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's ride! Oh!
All right, well, welcome back in to hour number 2 after further review. No Sports Center there. Threw us for a little bit of a loop. But, yes, got a bowl game coming up here on our airwaves. Of course, ESPN Baton Rouge, your home for bowl season in college football and the college football playoff, broadcasting all of those games. So if you're interested, I actually listened. I was out and about on what was that? The 20th, out and about on that Saturday, and wanted to stay in touch with the games. Just tuned it to 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Was caught up and knew everything that was happening. So you can always do that. I guess that's what's happening here. So we'll just kind of fill a little bit here so the affiliates can catch up, and then we'll dive into the Saints injury report again. Scone out, Musso in for Moscona here today and for the rest of 2024. He'll be back on the 2nd. Again, we will also be off New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, although we'll have full game day coverage for you on Eagle 98.1 and simulcast on ESPN in Baton Rouge for Eagle 98.1 game day if you're looking for that. Okay. Now, we can begin hour number 2. Jacob Beck, Taylor Sharp, and Musso here to drive you home on this Thursday, presented by Decision Critical. Saints are back on the practice field. Darren Rizzi has wrapped up his meeting with the media. There are notable things to get to here out of Saints practice, both in personnel and in, call it matchup with the Raiders, although I don't think many people are just jazzed to watch the Saints and the Raiders noon on Sunday in the Dome. But nonetheless, final home game of the season. Get out there, support the black and gold. So the Saints have kind of just treated this like a Thursday week. That's what Rizzi mentioned today, that this has just been a preparation for like they would a Thursday game. They obviously didn't practice yesterday with it being Christmas, but they did release an estimated injury report, and there were no changes from that to today. Derek Carr did not practice, no longer listed with the concussion, but listed with the left hand still. Remember, he is still in concussion protocol until he practices, and they will not put him out on the field to practice until that left hand is at a point where they believe he can function in everyday, every game, normal quarterback routine activities. So while they don't list concussion anymore, he still is not officially cleared concussion protocol until he practices, and he did not today. For what it's worth, Spencer Rattler did take the first team reps for the New Orleans Saints on Thursday in practice, and Darren Rizzi confirmed after in his media availability that if Derek Carr cannot go, it will once again be Spencer Rattler getting the start. Excuse me. Should not come as a surprise. As long as Carr is not out there, that seems to be the path that they will go. Alvin Kamara is the other one to really keep an eye on. Of course, Kamara dealing with the groin. Kamara did not practice again on Thursday. After practice with the media, Darren Rizzi mentioned that it's probably more likely that you'll see Alvin Kamara against the Buccaneers in Week 18 than against the Raiders in Week 17. So don't expect Alvin Kamara to trot out there in the Dome against the Raiders. You'll see much of what you saw before, whether it's Kendre Miller, Jamal Williams, I'm blanking. 33. Jordan Mims. Thank you, Taylor. Jordan Mims, and we'll see what maybe might transpire, of course, with Clyde as well. But Kamara, back-to-back days, even an estimated now, did not practice. Rizzi says more likely for Kamara in week 18 against the Bucs. Look, y'all know where I'm going with this. For me, there's just no reason for Derek Carr or Alvin Kamara to step foot on the field again this year. The Saints are playing for nothing. I don't think Darren Rizzi's getting this job at this point, so there's not even that caveat. With Kamara, I'll hear you on the 1,000-yard rushing. That would be awesome. He's never done it in his career. I can hear that argument. However, my rebuttal to that is I don't need him going out there battling a soft tissue injury, which have just been an absolute voodoo curse for the New Orleans Saints and New Orleans sports in general when you throw in the Pelicans this season, to where I don't need him potentially re-aggravating that to where it could impact him going forward into next year, training camp, OT, all of those things. That's just not, you signed him to an extension. We've had the conversation of whether that was a good idea, but it doesn't matter. You signed him. I don't need Alvin Kamara on the field again this year. Would I love to see him get the 50 yards that he needs? Sure. But I'd also rather him be healthy because you did extend him and you are tied to him now for 2 more seasons. Derek Carr, same deal. You're tied to him. He's going to be your quarterback next year, most likely. There's just no reason, with literally nothing left to play for from a goal standpoint and a postseason standpoint, to run 2 guys that important to you out there in a game against the Raiders and the Buccaneers. But we'll see what they do. Darren Rizzi, again, was adamant that they both are trying their best and hardest to get back on the field. And yeah, a lot of that's admirable because of everything that we just said. There is nothing left to play for. And they want to be out there with the guys. So I'll tip my hat to you on that too. And I can understand the competitiveness in that regard, but I'm also looking more towards the future of the franchise in my commentary here. Eric McCoy, Lucas Patrick, both did not practice Wednesday or Thursday. Again, Wednesday was estimated. And Darren Rizzi confirmed already after practice on Thursday that McCoy and Patrick are both out. So Shane Lemieux, come on down. You'll be at center, and you'll have the replacement at guard as well. Missing those 4 guys is going to be tough for the New Orleans Saints. The Las Vegas Raiders are bad. They are not a good football team. They're horrible. And they're a 1-point favorite right now in this football game on the road in the Dome. The Saints have just been that unimpressive when they've had to turn to the backups amid all these injuries. The one real positive thing to come out of Saints practice in this injury report is Chris Olave, who's obviously dealt with plenty of concussions. We're aware of that. And it's thought that his season maybe was over. And there were even questions about his long-term career. All of that speculative. He had his second opinions, did all of that, and returned to practice a week ago in a limited capacity. When the estimated injury report dropped on Wednesday, Chris Olave would have been a full participant in practice for the Saints on Wednesday had they held it. Well, today they did hold practice, and if you're listening at the start of this segment, I told you there were no changes. Chris Olave was a full participant in practice today for the New Orleans Saints, and that is a great sign. Darren Rizzi, after practice, said Olave's day-to-day. There's no guarantee that he's playing this week, and there's no guarantee that he plays the rest of the season. And I would lump him in that same boat with Carr and Kamara and those guys where I don't need to see Chris Olave again this season. But what's so encouraging is that he's back out there when you did have all the speculation on this season and potentially career. because concussions are serious business. And this has been a recurring thing for Olave. Just to see him go through the rehab, the second opinions, and get to a point where he can be a full participant again, that's massive. And that's a win. That's a win for him. And hopefully down the road, it will be a win for the New Orleans Saints. But first and foremost, just for Chris Olave, the person, that's a win. So you damn right, we're going to celebrate that. So Olave back at practice, officially day-to-day, full capacity back at practice, and officially day-to-day. We'll see if he does make a return at some point this season. Again, for me, I don't believe that necessary. Just fired up to see him back out there. Juwan Johnson, Nathan Shepard, Peyton Turner, and Marquez Valdez-Scantling, all limited in practice. We'll keep up with their status as the week goes along. For the Raiders on their side, no change except for Dylan Lobb. Running back illness, did not practice. And then former LSU Tiger, Kayvon Chason, was added to the injury report today with a foot, but was a full participant. The NFL just has those rules that if you have any type of injury, you have to be on there and your status designated. So Chason's battling a foot, but was a full participant. That's big for the Raiders, man, because Kayvon's really come along here the last few games, but really about the last 5. We talked about that in Tigers in the Pros a few weeks. He's got like 75% of his sacks over the last month of the season. Same with like his TFL. Same with his tackles in general. He's really kind of starting to emerge into a bright spot, which, look, from a Saints perspective this week, obviously you don't want to see, but man, that's a guy who, again, 2019 LSU, always going to be revered in Louisiana. First-round draft pick in 2020. You'd love to see it finally kind of work out. So just kind of something to keep an eye on there for the Raiders heading into this game with the New Orleans Saints. So Saints Raiders Sunday noon kickoff in the Dome, final home game, home finale, should say there for the Saints here in 2024. We'll keep you posted on plenty more. Mike Triplett obviously will be here with us in his spot in the 5 o'clock hour at 5:15. We'll go through everything we kind of just talked about. Get Mike's take. He was obviously out at practice and whatnot, and kind of just where the Saints go moving forward here and what the matchup with the Raiders looks like and how they end the rest of the season. So that's still to come as well. Right now, we're going to grab a break. We're going to come back on the other side and updated college football playoff odds. Well, Beck, Taylor and I will kick that around. What it tells us about what we should expect with the quarterfinals coming up here on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. That's next here on AFR, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing.
After further review.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. If you've been injured and it's not your fault, do what injured people in Louisiana have done for more than 30 years. Call Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. 888-8888. It's all 8s. 888-8888. I don't even need to give you the area code because no matter where you are in the state, it doesn't matter. Just dial 888-8888 for Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Gordon does an awesome job, man. He's a great person. They've been so invested in our communities with all the charitable and service work that they do. They give back into the communities that they represent, no matter what time of year. If it's the bike giveaway for kids around Christmas time, if it's the laptop giveaway around back to school time, if it's the charitable work they do during October for Breast Cancer Awareness Month, they're always involved in the community. We tell you all the time, of course, about the G team and what Gordon's done with NIL and the opportunities that he's afforded student athletes. Just a great, great community partner. If you've been injured, you need representation, go to getgordon.com. That's getgordon.com. Get Gordon and get it done.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our #1 product is always customer satisfaction.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalvr.com.
Hey, if I was brought to you by First South Farm Credit, you know where to start. Your first call, your first visit, your first option when it comes to buying land in Louisiana is First South Farm Credit. And honestly, it doesn't even have to be land in Louisiana because First South Farm Credit can help you buy land in any of the contiguous 48. And they've got more than 40 branches in Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. So if you're right here in the Southeast, there's First South Farm Credit locations all near you. But remember, like, for example, let's say a lot of our audience in New Orleans, of course. You're living in New Orleans, maybe you're starting to build a family, grow a family. You want to move to the North Shore like a lot of people do. You want to buy the 100 acres in Tangipahoa. You can. And First South Farm Credit can help because they have an office in Amite. So walk in there. You can do business with someone who talks like you, lives where you live, and help you buy land wherever you want to buy land in the contiguous 48. It's First South Farm Credit. If you're thinking of buying land, your first call, your first option should be First South Farm Credit. FirstSouthLand.com.
All right, the college football playoff quarterfinals get underway on New Year's Eve. Of course, we've been through the first round. You saw chalk, hold, all cover, and advance. Now you have updated odds for the winner of the college football playoff as you head into the quarterfinals. On Monday's show, the three of us were in here, and we were recapping the college football playoff for opening round. And we went through kind of the games. We also went through and said, which team impressed us the most. And y'all correct me if I'm wrong, but memory serves that all three of us said Ohio State. Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. All three of us went with Ohio State, and I still stand by that. I think Ohio State was absolutely phenomenal in their opening round win over Tennessee. So how did that translate into their odds to win the whole thing? Well, earlier today, Ohio State was co-favorites to win the college football playoff. That has since seen some line movement. The Texas Longhorns are now the sole favorite to win the college football playoff at plus 320. They are followed by Ohio State at plus 340. Next is Oregon, the Ducks plus 450. Georgia follows them at 5-1. As well with Penn State. So Penn State and Georgia kind of tied there with the fourth best odds at 5-1. Notre Dame is at 6-1, and then Boise State, Arizona State bring up the rear at 7-1. I think as you really can expect that. Guys, before we kind of just dive really deeper into it, I mean, overall thoughts just on where the odds stand.
I'm not surprised at all. Me and Beck actually talked about this a little bit on a Hunt show. Like, yeah, obviously Ohio State was dominant in their win over Tennessee, but so I look at Texas. Texas seems like one of those teams that if they can run the ball, they can win the whole thing. Jaden Blue and Quintavious Wisner are that good, and you're not going to ask Quinn Ewers to do too much. They might have the best defense left in the college football playoff, which is saying something. There's a lot of good defenses out there. What worries me is the Quinn Ewers factor. I have been super critical of Will Howard all year long. I didn't think he was good enough to win. Last month and a half of the season, Will Howard's been excellent.
Mm-hmm.
I might trust him a little bit more than Quinn Ewers right now. That's kind of why I'm giving Ohio State the advantage.
That's the thing with Howard, man. And not that Quinn Ewers isn't a veteran. Obviously, he is. But Howard he's not that guy who's just going to be super flashy and all this stuff isn't going to jump off the page to you. But the guy has won a lot of football games, whether it be at Kansas State, now at Ohio State. And he fit that Ohio State team so well because of all the pieces around him. He could just go out there, play his game. I don't want to use the term game manager because that comes with such a negative connotation. But he gets the ball where it's supposed to be. He's in command of the offense, and he's got great talent around him, and he protects the football, which is something that Ewers has struggled with at times this year.
Well, there's plenty of good running backs, and I'm glad you mentioned the pieces around Will Howard. So if I asked anybody who the best weapon on offense is, take out the running back position of teams left, the answer probably unanimously is Jeremiah Smith.
Yeah.
Texas has nobody like Jeremiah Smith. Matthew Golden is a fine, solid college receiver. He's not Jeremiah Smith. We saw Ryan Williams bail out Jalen Milroe time and time again this year. Jeremiah Smith does the same thing for Will Howard. So even when he has to go to the air and you might trust him more, he's got that go-to guy. Quinn Ewers doesn't have that go-to guy. His best receiver is probably Gunnar Helm, the tight end.
Yeah, everybody thought it was going to be Isaiah Bond, but that just hasn't that just hasn't come to fruition. Beck, takeaway from the updated odds there?
Yeah, I think this has a lot to do with Texas's path to the championship in terms of the fact that they will be playing Arizona State, who they are 14-point favorites against, and I think there will probably be a lot of money coming in on the Longhorns with that kind of line with an Arizona State team who lost a few games in the regular season, didn't look super impressive against good opponents. And Texas's defense and the way their offense played against Clemson, you'd have to think that Clemson was probably maybe a little bit more talented team than Arizona State. So then you win that game, and then you take on the winner of Oregon and Ohio State, which is probably going to be a really good game. And that team may come in a little beat up, and Texas should be relatively, not quite as beat up as them in a game against Arizona State. And that gives them a pretty easy path to the championship, whereas, of course, Oregon and Ohio State, really tough path because of that first game they have to play. And then Notre Dame and Georgia, really tough path for both of those teams because that's going to be a tough game. And then they'll most likely play Penn State in the semifinals. So to me, it makes sense why the odds are the way they are.
I will tell you the other thing that really jumps out to me is the Georgia spot because this is about as good of a buy low spot as you're going to get with Georgia until those games start. Earlier today, it was at 7-1. Georgia was 7-1 earlier today. Like when I first put this segment on the rundown, Georgia was 7-1, and I had that circled. Like, hello, Georgia 7-1 to win a natty? Yeah, give me some of that action. It's already now to 5-1. That's still a great buy low spot because here's the deal. If Georgia goes out there with Gunnar Stockton at quarterback and beats Notre Dame, they're going to vault themselves right up to the top of these odds, and you're never going to get that type of price again. I'm not telling you that Georgia's going to beat Notre Dame. I think this is actually a really good spot for Notre Dame. Now, again, they're without their sack leader, obviously, for the rest of the season, which is a tough pill to swallow for them. But Georgia hasn't necessarily shown that they can just run the ball at will this year, having a backup quarterback in there who at times in the SEC championship looked like the moment was pretty big for him. He did lead a touchdown drive, I understand, and he kept turning on the tracks and they got the win. It's going to come down to that Georgia defense against Notre Dame as well. And if the Dogs get that win, don't be surprised if they aren't the favorite heading into the semifinals to take home the college football playoff championship.
Well, not only that, like, what's the big knock on Georgia right now? Your quarterback doesn't have any experience. He's going to keep getting it the more games they win. So, look, he goes in there. Let's say they are able to run the ball against Notre Dame, but they're down by 3. Gunnar Stockton leads a game-winning drive against Notre Dame. I like Georgia against Penn State or Boise State, whoever. He's got confidence. He's won 2 big-time games at that point, not even counting the win over Texas, which, honestly, I think if Carson Beck stays in that game, they don't win that game. But, I mean, look, the longer Gunnar Stockton stays in this playoffs, the more experience he gets. And, look, I love Texas. I think they have a nice path. If you guys haven't watched Cam Scatteraboo play football,
Oh, yeah.
Texas defense is good. Arizona is a physical football team. There is not a given in that game. I think Texas wins that game, but, I mean, I like the path of a Penn State much more than a Texas. I mean, Penn State has SMU straight to Boise State. Ashton Genty's phenomenal, but if you shut down Ashton Genty, do you trust Maddox Madsen to make the throws to beat you? I don't. I trust Sam Levitt in Arizona State a lot more than Boise State. So that Penn State path is not bad at all.
You have an interesting matchup there that you brought up with Texas and Scatteraboo because, I mean, I think we all mentioned it when we talk about Texas and Clemson. Texas won that game because they just flat out dominated the line of scrimmage. They have a great offensive line that they're going to be able to run behind plenty no matter which back. Take your pick, right? That defensive front for Texas, though, man, that's going to be the best defensive front that Arizona State has seen all season and that Cam Scatteraboo has seen all season. I love the kid's fire and competitiveness. I mean, he runs pissed off every single time the ball is placed in his hands. That is going to be a whole another test. And, I mean, I look at Texas right there as a 13.5-point favorite. And, look, when Dabo Swinney had Clemson going, it was in the trenches. And I think everybody looked at that game heading into the opening round and said, okay, that's still a decent Clemson front. Texas ran all over them and stuffed Clemson in the running game. I don't know if Texas completely stuffs Cam Scatteraboo, but I think it's going to be tough for him to get something going against that Longhorn defense.
Well, they're the only Texas. They're the only defense in the Power Four that did not allow 350 yards of offense against them a single time this year. I mean, they're the best defense in the college football playoff. Like we were talking about it Monday. If you're a fan of old school football, power running games, solid defenses that stop the run, this is the college football playoff for you because I mean the team that's the most quote-unquote spread is probably Oregon, and they still run the hell out of the ball with Dylan Gabriel and Jordan James. I mean, that's what we're talking about with Texas. Like, if they have the ability to run the ball, their defense is good enough to beat anybody.
They are. I mean, I'm excited to see how these games play out because I think Penn State can roll over Boise. I think Texas wins by 2 scores against Arizona State at least. Ohio State and Oregon and Notre Dame, Georgia are really the 2 intriguing games for me in the quarterfinals.
Yeah, I don't want to sleep on the Boise State Penn State game. I know everyone's going to look at that one and just say, well, Penn State has a really good defense, one of the best rushing defenses in the country, and Boise State is they will go as Ashton Genty goes, and that's correct. I mean, Penn State's defense has played really well all season, but I don't know that they've gone against a running back like Ashton Genty in a Boise State rushing attack that averaged over 250 yards a game. Now, of course, their competition was not comparable to Penn State's, but I do still think that you have to give Boise a chance in this one. If Penn State forces them to throw the ball, then it'll be interesting to see. Like Taylor said, he may not trust Maddox Madsen, but he had a pretty good season this year. I mean, he probably had a lot of easier defensive schemes to go against because defenses were just going to force them to throw the ball and put a lot of guys in the box. So it may have been easier for him to have some easier throws. But I still want to give Boise State a chance in that one. I still want to not trust James Franklin in big games. I mean, the SMU game is a big game because it's a playoff game. But SMU was just horrible. I mean, they had no chance in that game.
The thing with Boise, and I don't disagree with you. I mean, you won't find a bigger Ashton Genty believer and supporter than me. I mean, the guy ran for $180 plus against Oregon, like
192, 3 touchdowns, and that was a 3-point game. The Boise State was in the entire time.
He can get his against Penn State. It's the other part of it, and the thing is, like, it's hard for a running back to just completely take over a game and keep you in it. It's much easier for a quarterback, right? But the thing for Boise is they cannot get behind in the game. They have to I'm not saying they have to jump out in front. They have to be able to at least stick with Penn State, though, because, for one, obviously you lean heavily on Ashton Genty. He's going to run the ball. That's going to wind the clock down. But it's more so because of what Penn State has on offense in their running game. I mean, you saw that against SMU. Penn State got up, and once they came out of the locker room at halftime, it was, okay, we are just going to sit here and salt this game away on the ground. And Penn State absolutely has the ability to do that against Boise State. They have the advantage up front, and they have the two just bruising running backs back there in their back. Two guys who just want to hit you when they run the football in Singleton and Katron Allen. So that's kind of the thing there is that Boise, you can hang. You just once you get behind, that's when you're going to be in big trouble. Anyone's going to be in big trouble against Penn State if that's the case.
Well, so I was talking about Maddox Matson earlier, and like, do I trust him to win the game if Ashton Jeanty gets stuffed? Look, Jeanty had his way with Oregon, like you were mentioning. Look, 192, 3 touchdowns, and he did it on 7.5 yards per carry. He was great. And if you look at the box score, you say, okay, well, Boise State won the turnover battle 2-0. Maddox Matson took care of the football. To your point, though, Maddox Matson was 17 of 40 passing in that game, and he averaged 3.7 yards per attempt. I mean, he's not, like to your point, if Ashton Jeanty gets bottled up, he can run a little bit, but he's not the threat in the passing game that you need against Penn State.
Also, if Ashton Jeanty gets bottled up is a mouthful because he hadn't been
bottled.
100%. He hadn't been bottled
it hadn't happened this year.
All right. I think the only game we really didn't talk about at all was Ohio State, Oregon, oddly enough.
Which is probably the best game.
Yeah, it is. I mean, quick thought. I think Ohio State's going to win the game.
I do too.
I've beat that drum for a long time that if Ohio State played Oregon on a neutral field, they are better and they will win. And I think Ohio State will win.
I'm gonna go. I go with Oregon. I trust Dylan Gabriel more than Will Howard.
Okay.
I think Ohio State is a more talented team, but I'll go with the better quarterback. I think.
I trust Gabriel more too, 100%. But Travion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins have been so good. They dominated that Tennessee defense. And, I mean, we were just talking about how many problems Ashton Jeanty gave that Oregon defense. I mean, he ran for 192 yards. As a team, they averaged 6.7 yards per carry against Oregon. That's been Oregon's one problem is stopping the run, and Ohio State runs the crap out of it.
They do. I mean, that was most impressive with Ohio State's win in the opening round. They were able to just do it all. Throw, run, and, I mean, they were dominant. So we all had them as the most impressive. Okay, well, there's a little thumbnail preview for you on kind of each of the college football playoff quarterfinals. They get underway on New Year's Eve and accompanied with the odds. We'll run through those briefly real quick. Texas is your favorite. Ohio State is next, followed by Oregon, Georgia, and Penn State tied at 5-1. Notre Dame at 6-1, and Boise State and Arizona State rounded out at 7-1. We'll keep a close eye on those games. We'll have you a recap for you as once we get into the new year and the playoff rolls along. All right, we're going to grab a break. We'll come back on the other side. It's Thursday edition of AFR presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Stay here.
After further review.
AFR is brought to you by the Watermark Hotel and the Renaissance Hotel, two beautiful hotel properties in Baton Rouge, the Watermark downtown, the Renaissance Southtown right there on Bluebonnet. And when it comes to hosting your event, both the Watermark and the Renaissance are perfect. The Watermark is a gorgeous, elegant spot in downtown Baton Rouge. That wedding reception, that smaller gathering, that meeting space, they can do it. They've kept so much of the history and tradition of that iconic building while modernizing it. The Gregory is a great restaurant inside of the Watermark as well. And then, of course, the Renaissance Hotel, Southtown, right there on Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge. It's more modern. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous hotel property at the Renaissance Hotel where they have meeting space that can accommodate up to 500 people, 7,000 square foot of meeting space, perfectly located right off of Bluebonnet and I-10. It's the Watermark and the Renaissance Hotels in Baton.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
Brought to you by Parish Restoration. Parish Restoration. I've told you before about Mold Zero Pure Restoration. Now, Parish Restoration, all the same thing. Patented non-toxic dry fog treatment. Parish, Jim Woodworth, who I've told you about for years now. Jim Woodworth merged with my guys Richard Tilley and Ryan Terrio, all under the Parish umbrella. So it's Parish Restoration, patented non-toxic dry fog. It's been actually pretty remarkable to hear some of these stories of the people who have put out to bid, for remediation contracts, and they get the number from Parish Restoration, and they'll call and say, "Is this number right?" And they explain why. I say it often. It is a more cost-effective, more efficient way, and also of remediation, and also because it's a dry fog, you're not cutting sheetrock or pulling out carpet or taking things out of your home or your place of business. They spray the fog, they let it dwell, it dissipates, you're back in free and clear and mold-free. It's Parish Restoration. ParishBuilt.com.
Boys and ladies out there as well, we got a banger on Thursday Night Football here tonight. See this? This gets you going, huh? Seahawks and Bears.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah?
I've been needing a nap after this triple dose of shows. That's perfect background noise.
That's right. I mean, at least the Seahawks are still kind of competing for a division.
Yeah.
Kinda.
I mean, the Rams are going to win
has been really not that good this year.
He's been really bad.
It's really it's weird. Like a couple of years ago, he had this resurgent season, and everybody's like, "Man, Geno Smith's had such a good year," and the Seahawks, maybe they're going to be pretty good. But then last year, just not a very good year again, and then this year, 17 touchdowns, 15 picks. Man, that's not great.
I mean, I should clarify, the Seahawks no longer control their own destiny, but they can still win the division.
They do, because they have the Rams, their next game, which is the team they're fighting with.
So, I mean, they could still win it. They're going to need a little bit of help, and they got to win against the Bears to kind of even just keep that alive. I mean, at 8-7, you're pushing it. You got 8-8, and it really doesn't much matter what you do to the Rams.
The Bears have lost 9 straight games. I want y'all to think about that real quick. They were 4-2 at one point. Everybody's like, we nailed it with Caleb Williams. You didn't, but everybody said we nailed it with Caleb Williams. 9 straight games. This was an 8-9 football team a year ago.
Yeah.
They can't, I mean, at most they can win 6 games this year.
Yeah, it's pretty surprising, man, too. I mean, but if you look at that streak, they've actually been fairly competitive in a lot of those games. The last 3 notwithstanding, but before that, I mean, you lose to the Packers by 1, They lost to the Vikings by 3, and they lost to the Lions by 3 on Thanksgiving. A huge comeback in that game. But since then, they've gotten the doors blown off of them. So, like, which Bears team shows up? For what it's worth, they're a 5-point underdog in this game on their home field to the Seattle Seahawks. I mean, this is the definition of lipstick on a pig with this football game tonight on Thursday night. It's not a great one. And to be fair, the Netflix games were atrocious.
Yeah, 2 points for the Texans, which, first off, are the Texans the most disappointing good team in the NFL this year? Because I think they are. And I get it. Diggs is out for the rest of the year. Tank Dell's having surgery. Nico's awesome, but he's been in and out of the lineups. CJ Stroud, 19 touchdowns, 13 picks. Like, he's falling back in a big way.
When you say most disappointing good team, do you mean a team that everyone expected to be good, or a team that is still pretty good, just falling short of expectation?
The latter, falling short of expectations. Like, they're going to win their division.
But they're still good. Yeah,
but the Colts aren't any good. The Jaguars aren't any good.
No.
Like, that's not a good division that they're going to win. I mean, they could win that division at 9-8, no problem.
The only other one I would throw out there would either be the Bucs or the Falcons in the NFC South, but I think that'd mainly trend more towards the Falcons.
Yeah.
Although I picked the Bucs to win the division when we did our preseason picks here on the show. Just because the Falcons had all that going for them, and they're still going to win that division most likely because they beat the Buccaneers twice. But I mean, you've benched Kirk Cousins, you've gone into that. Now, granted, everyone thought the Texans would be much better than the Falcons, but that's the only one I can offer you.
I mean, what about? I know that they've been out of the playoffs for a few weeks, but the Cincinnati Bengals, like coming into the season, they were absolutely should have been contenders in the AFC North. I mean, the AFC North is really good this year, but still, you would think that they were going to have a really good shot in that division, and then if not, like the wild card should have been, an easy choice to say that they were going to get in there. But they have been so bad on defense. It is kind of crazy how bad they've been on defense.
The only reason I didn't pick them, like, I love the guy, but Burrow and the Bengals are always really bad at the beginning of the year. I mean, it's been 3 years in a row now. And to Beck's point, they were so bad at the beginning of the year. That division is so good this year. That's why I picked the Texans, just because their division is awful.
Yeah. Well, that's why I countered with, Atlanta, because they went all in.
Another one.
Horrible division. They're still They're not great, but they're still okay. They're going to, like I said, they're going to probably win the division, and unless they just face plant. But I mean, you've benched your quarterback that you invested a bunch of money in. So I mean, probably them. I mean, the only other one I can really think of, in terms of like expectation heading into the season, where it's just not worked out, is the Niners. But a lot of that's injury related. I think the majority of that's actually injury related. We'll kind of wait and see there. But there you go. Thursday night football tonight. I mean, look, I love football as much as the next guy. But after the product that was put out there on Christmas Day, I mean, that was tough to see. It did give way to some really funny tweets, though, where I saw multiple people say, how could you put the Texans in? Alabama should have been in instead. Which, I mean,
that's phenomenal.
That's great. It's well done. The NFL playoff committee, they're not doing what they need to do. Just feeding the Texans to the wolves.
Just because the Texans win their division does not mean they should get in the playoffs.
Yeah, they don't deserve a bye. What are we doing?
It's a weak division. We were just talking about it. You get credit for beating the Colts and the Jaguars?
31-2. Also not scoregami in the NFL yesterday.
I'm surprised. I was waiting for one.
That floored me a little bit.
I also wonder if there's going to be anyone saying out there that this Christmas Day game was a bad idea just because of the time, like the amount of games that those teams had to play. I mean, the Texans played on Saturday, had to turn around and play, Baltimore. I mean, it was a home game, but still, I mean, that kind of, that people have always talked about the record for teams in Thursday night games when they've got to go on the road. I mean, that one again, I think was not a good look. I mean, those both should have been on paper. Those should have been great games, but they were not.
No,
so
they were horrible.
So I think that turnaround for them on the schedule was just really brutal.
Yeah, I don't doubt that at all. I mean, that's quick, and it's going to be quick coming back the opposite way for week 17, week 18 as well. All right, we're set to grab a break here, but first, a word from Scone on construction and roofing.
For the last 3.5 years, I've told you, do business with someone you know, and that's still the case. It's just we've got a new company. It's Parrish Construction and Roofing, but it's all still the same people. It's me, it's Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley and Joe Morales, all the way down to Christina in our office, who when you call, that's who you talk to, and the same friendly crews that come actually do the work at your home. It's our same team. We just started a new company, Parrish Construction and Roofing. You can give us a shout. We even have the same number, 364-1007, 364-1007, or parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. Roof repairs, roof replacements, from the smallest residential repair to the largest commercial roof replacement. We do it all, and we do it friendly with a smile, and we are here. We are local. We are Parrish Construction and Roofing. Do business with someone you know. Parishbuilt.com. That's parishbuilt.com.
All right, we'll come back and wrap up hour number 2 with Tigers in the Pros. Mike Triplett still to come a little bit later on in the 5 o'clock hour as well. Stay here. It's AFR.
AFR.
Speaking of Christmas stuff, if you do still need a Christmas gift for someone on your list who maybe it's hard to shop for, or maybe you have that green thumb on your list, got to get by Clegg's Nursery. Any of the 4 locations, Seagonair Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. I want to remind you, there's some great gift ideas at Clegg's. A citrus tree is a great gift that your family, friend, loved one can plant and get generations of value and enjoyment out of. Maybe it's something to enjoy their outdoor space, like tuned wind chimes, which are gorgeous if you've never seen them. They're awesome. They've got bird feeders, hummingbird feeders, or you could always just snag a Clegg's gift card. Easy, stocking stuffer, maybe something for a company Christmas party, something like that. It's Clegg's Nursery. Any of the 4 locations, buy local, shop local. Tell them Matt sent you in. Friends at Clegg's Nursery.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Savor game day platters and snacks, plus drink specials at 1717 Kitchen and Cocktail. So come out for game day and let our team make you the MVP. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your...
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalvr.com.
We're brought to you by Supper Club. You can book your reservation, supperclubbtr.com, supperclubbtr.com. One of the things about Supper Club that I love is if you want to go to Supper Club and be a baller, you can do it. You want to go to Supper Club and order a $5,000 bottle of Chateau Lafite Rothschild? You can do it. You want to go have $400 shots of cognac? You can do it. You can have experiences at Supper Club that usually are reserved for Las Vegas and New York and Paris and Abu Dhabi. Like, that's here in Baton Rouge. But the thing you got to remember as well, if you want to go to Supper Club and have the best steak of your life and have a few appetizers, a dessert, bottle of wine, you can do it as affordably as any other restaurant in town. But the experience at Supper Club is unmatched. Introduced open seating at the bar, first come, first serve. So if you knock off of work, you want to head by Supper Club, walk in without a reservation, see if you can grab a bar stool or a table by the bar as well. Have a great dinner, maybe cocktail, close some business. Book your reservation, supperclubbtr.com, supperclubbtr.com.
All right, wrapping up hour number 2 here of AFR. Thursday show presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Of course, Musso in for Moscona. Let's go ahead and wrap it up as we normally do with Tigers in the Pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
We'll get into some recaps momentarily, but let's start with some transaction news coming down from the NFL today. The Lions have waived former Tiger linebacker Quan Alexander. Hopefully, maybe looking to re-sign him to the practice squad for a playoff run. It's just been an up-and-down career for Quan, man. When he's been healthy, he has been absolutely incredible. But the injuries have just crept up really ever since his days at LSU, and it's really limited what he's been able to do consistently in the NFL. But you wish him all the best. And again, we'll see where he lands. Again, it could just be on the Lions practice squad, but today, waived by Detroit. Christmas Day football yesterday. The Steelers took it on the chin against the Chiefs, but a couple former Tigers on defense had nice days. Patrick Queen led the team in stops with 7, 5 of those solo. Dante Jackson, you'll remember, we told you, I don't know if it was Monday or if it was even the week prior, he was dealing with an injury, was questionable for the ball game, did end up playing, registered 4 stops. That had him second on the team in tackles for then and again. The Chiefs dominated that game, won by 19. For the Houston Texans, Derek Stingley Jr. 4 stops in the ball game. Did not register any other stats. No pass defense, no interceptions, but he did continue some nice play there down the stretch as he has done. And then Danielle Hunter, 2 total stops in the game, was kept off of Lamar Jackson, who broke Michael Vick's rushing record in that ball game as well. NBA action from Christmas Day. Just one former Tiger in the fold there. That was Naz Reid. Should have stayed. Naz, productive day, albeit not stat sheet stuffing. Did shoot 50% from the floor for 6 points. Did have a couple of assists and 2 boards as well in 22 minutes. The Timberwolves upset the Dallas Mavericks in that ball game, 105-99. There you have it. That is Tigers in the pros. Speaking of that Timberwolves Mavericks game, that was actually part of a parlay that Otter gave out yesterday during us Christmas Day Otter Locks. You can get those, of course, at louisianasports.net. Post them there early every single day. If you want to bet with the Otter, just get over to louisianasports.net and do so. And would always tell you it's a good thing to check it early and often, because sometimes he sneaks a few games in there that start while we're still on air. Of course, Jimmy will be here with us to close out the show today for Otterlocks, as per usual, Monday through Friday. But again, you can always get them at LouisianaSports.net. Running a quick check here to see if they are actually up yet for the day. And my computer's moving incredibly slow, so I don't actually have an answer for you there yet. But you know what? We're going to get one. Oh, maybe not. Look at this. Try something went wrong. Try reloading. There we go. No, not seeing Otterlocks yet up at LouisianaSports.net, but they will be posted a little bit later on, most likely before Otter joins us. But if you can't get over to LouisianaSports.net, be here at the end of the show, and Otter will hand out.
We've got them. We've got some Otterlocks. So
they just popped in?
No, well, there's some for a couple of games. So there's one game that's already in progress. Two games are already in progress, unfortunately. He had Toledo plus 6.5.
Okay.
That game's going into overtime, actually, in the Sports Bowl. It is actually called the Sports Bowl.
The Sports Bowl.
Yes, and then Rutgers plus 7. They are currently playing against Kansas State. Kansas State leading that one 3-0 in the first quarter.
A couple underdogs there in the bowls. And the Fighting Shianos, Otter rolling with. Be here again to wrap up the show. There'll be plenty more Otterlocks. And keep it tuned to LouisianaSports.net as well. They'll be posted. All right, we got to grab a break here. Finish up hour number 2. One more hour to go. Mike Triplett, of course, will be here in his normal spot at 5:15. We'll talk all the comings and goings of Saints practice today, how the rest of the week looks. Should we really care about anything that happened Sunday in the Dome against the Raiders? We'll ask Mike all of that. But when we get back, interesting piece from On3, ranking head coaches that have been to the college football playoff, who's most likely to get back and the fastest. Brian Kelly is on the list. We'll let you know where and if it's actually too low. That's going to lead the 5 o'clock hour of AFR. Again, Thursday show presented by Decision Critical. 2 hours down, 1 to go. Musso in for Moscona. Stay here, and we will be right back on AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. You know, when we talk about Relief Windows every day, I always say windows, doors, siding. And now shutters as well. They do your indoor shutters. Same thing as the windows. Custom made, measured to fit your windows, custom fit for your windows, lifetime warranty on your windows, your shutters. But Brandon, you often hear say their number one product is customer satisfaction. And that's not just a catchy line. That's not a cliche phrase. Have an experience with Relief Windows and you'll understand. They go to the ends of the earth to make sure their customers are thrilled with the work they do. As a matter of fact, Relief Windows never takes $1 from you. You will not, no deposit, no down payment. They take all the risk. They will not take $1 until you're thrilled with the work they do. Who else does that? Only Relief Windows. Check them out online at ReliefWindows.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's ride!
Hour number 3, after further review here on a Thursday. We're presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Musso in for Moscona. Jacob Beck, Taylor Sharp along for the ride as well. Glad to have you along too as we put a button here on the Thursday show. One more hour to go. If you're just hopping in the car, if you had to go back to work today, welcome in. If you're still on vacation, enjoying the Christmas holiday and heading into the new year, we thank you for tuning in as well. Mike Triplett. Still to come from New Orleans.football. He'll be with us in the next segment, as Mike is every Thursday. Recap kind of what happened at Saints practice today, and look forward to the future as the Saints wrap up the home regular season against the Raiders on Sunday. One thing I wanted to look at here in hour number 3, just to start, I came across this earlier. Andy Staples over at On 3, he does this mailbag, column where people send in a question, he answers it and whatnot. This one was pretty interesting to me. This one caught my eye more than others. A reader, I should say, I almost said a listener. A reader sent in, rank these coaches who made the college football playoff at different schools by the likelihood they will give their new employer the gift of a CFP appearance. And he listed 4. He listed Kalen DeBoer, Brian Kelly, Luke Fickell, and Lincoln Riley. I think just by the nature of you listening to this show, you obviously like college football a lot. You follow it pretty closely, and you can probably guess how that ranking went. Right? I mean, there's not much to be left desired there. He had Kalen DeBoer, number 1, Brian Kelly, 2, Lincoln Riley, 3, and then Luke Fickell, 4, where he absolutely belongs because he's never taken Wisconsin to the college football playoff. I'm not so much interested in the ranking. But Brian Kelly, what you cannot argue is he is the most proven coach out of those 4. Not just in winning games, but also in making the college football postseason. This is a guy who played for a national championship at Notre Dame in the BCS era, has made the college football playoff twice at Notre Dame, and now is at LSU trying to finally get over the hump. Yeah, he's the most proven guy. Kalen DeBoer's made the college football playoff one time at Washington. He made it all the way to the national championship game and lost to Michigan. That is admirable. That is awesome. Lincoln Riley made the playoff plenty with Oklahoma and got skunked every time. He's actually more similar to Brian Kelly's Notre Dame teams than anything. And then Luke Fickell made it with Cincinnati when he really shouldn't have. But out of those, DeBoer and Kelly are the only two that have actually played for a national championship. So, looking at them, yeah, you're kind of splitting hairs. I know a lot of LSU people are going to be like, oh, Kelly's Kelly, not DeBoer. Alabama lost 3 games. Yeah, well, they also beat the hell out of you on your home field. But, it's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about LSU's path and just how close that they are. And this ties into plenty of the conversations that we've had recently with the transfer portal and things of that nature. But the one thing that's for certain, looking at those 4 guys, DeBoer, Kelly, Riley, and Luke Fickell, why was that guy's 4th option? You think he's a Wisconsin fan? He has to be a Wisconsin. Like, why else would Luke Fickell be the 4th option there? Anyway.
Maybe because a Big Ten team with 2 losses and a down year could get in.
Maybe.
There's not that many coaches out there that have been to the college football playoff.
That's true. That are at new schools.
There's really not.
That are at new schools. Anyway. What was it? Oh, yeah. When you look at those 4 guys, the narrative coming into this season really, with all of them is, all right, let's see what you got. Specifically with Kelly, DeBoer, and Riley. And I think at the end of the regular season, there's a lot of people down on all of those coaches. I know people are down on Brian Kelly being in this market and being around it every single day. Obviously, folks were down on Kalen DeBoer because in Alabama, they're used to this unattainable, standard of success that's been well documented on this show by the normal host. And then, Lincoln Riley, USC gave him everything they wanted, said, okay, here, fine. You've asked for all of this. Here it is. Go do it. And he hasn't done it. The one thing that I will say is the argument that I would make for Brian Kelly is he's the only coach really in that realm, out of those 4, that the narrative seems to kind of have flipped completely around because of what LSU was able to hold together in the 25 recruiting class and what they've done in the transfer portal. Everyone feels a lot better about the direction of LSU football right now than they did leaving Gainesville, right? Or even leaving the Oklahoma game. Because of what they've been able to assemble, because of what they've been able to put together. Now, what I will say is, in doing so, that has just done nothing but heighten expectation. I'm not saying everybody's come around on Brian Kelly. There's still plenty of LSU fans, I'm sure, that haven't. Say, oh, yeah, he's doing all this talent, but he can't ever get over the hump. He can't win with it. Let's see. Okay, well, we're going to see. What I will say is they're not done yet, but the further and further they go along in this, it gets harder and harder to justify missing the college football playoff in 2025. I hesitate to use the word excuse. So let me get that on the record. I don't like having to use the word excuse, but there are no more excuses really after this. You've gotten the coaching staff where you want it. Now you've definitely gotten the roster where you want it. You have positioned yourself to where the narrative has kind of flipped around this quickly in a matter of 3 weeks? What does it look like going forward? We'll see. But LSU has put themselves in a position to absolutely be a team. And Brian Kelly has put himself in a position to be the coach, in my opinion, out of those 4 that should get back there first. Alabama's going to be in the hunt next year with Kalen DeBoer, 100%. And that game in Tuscaloosa between the Tigers and the Tide, as it always does, is going to mean an awful lot for each team's postseason. It did this year. But when you compare off seasons, right now, at this point, it's December 26th. When you compare off seasons at this point, LSU's had a better off season than Alabama, especially in the transfer portal. I don't really think that's groundbreaking. I don't think that's breaking news. So if you're looking at it in a vacuum at this point in the season, or this point in the off, or it's still the season, because you haven't had all the bowls yet. it's kind of a coin flip deal, but it just feels like LSU's been building a little bit more towards this, which is why I'd kind of lean a little bit more towards LSU there. But one thing's for certain. This is going to be a really pivotal year. So far, we kind of talked about it at the top of the show today. So far, this staff in this portal cycle have kept and met every promise that they laid forth. So you have no reason to believe they're not going to continue to do that. They're going to field a team that is extremely talented and should be competitive. Whether they are competitive hinges solely on how they come together, how the coaches get them ready to play, and how they're able to execute each week, game in and game out. Everything on paper points towards the playoff, but you actually have to go out there and win the games. And the margin for error going forward there, now that you have it exactly where you want it, is a lot thinner. But if you give me Kalen DeBoer, Brian Kelly, Luke Fickell, Lincoln Riley, and say, hey, of those four, right now, on December 26th, who is the coach most likely to get back first? I really don't know how you don't say Brian Kelly with what you have to look at right now. That could change in March. That could change in August. By then, it could be Kalen DeBoer. Hell, by then, it could be Lincoln Riley. Who knows? Probably not, but it could be. Who knows? But right now, on December 26th, I don't know how you look at this objectively and say it isn't Brian Kelly. We'll see if he can get it done. We'll see if LSU can get it done. They got the same schedule they had a year ago. You just flipped home and away. This went 8-4. But you should be way more talented. And you have a second-year starting quarterback. Again, today, I don't know how you look at this and say that it isn't Brian Kelly with the option to get back quickly. We'll see. Tigers, they play their bowl game December 31st against Baylor, and then we'll enter spring and summer and fall, and they will kick off the 2025 season against Clemson at Clemson on August 30th, and that is when we will get our answer first of just how serious LSU is going to be in 2025. They win that opener, y'all, that goes a long, long way because they haven't won one in 5 years, and Brian Kelly hadn't won one since he's been here. I'm to the point where you don't get the benefit of the doubt there anymore. Like, I'm kind of to the point of during the 8-game losing streak to Alabama where I was there, where it's like, yeah, you got to prove it before I ever think you can actually do it again. Because a lot of the times LSU's had the more talented team. They just haven't been able to get over the hump in those games. That game is going to tell you so much about where this team is early in the 2025 season. But yeah, for me, out of those four right now, Brian Kelly's got the best shot to get back to the playoff first. We'll see if they do it. All right, we're going to grab a break, come back on the other side. Mike Triplett, NewOrleans.football, joins us in his weekly spot. Let's talk some black and gold with Mike Triplett next here on AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Action Industries, Action, INDINC.com for Action Industries Incorporated. Had a great lunch a few weeks back with my buddies over at Action Industries. It was Chuck, Chad, Jordan, Erica. We had a great lunch, actually over at Curbside right there on Government Street. And we talked a ton about turnarounds. The turnaround season is March through October. You know that. But it's so important now that if you know you'll have turnarounds coming, I mean, it's inevitable when you have turnarounds coming around the springtime, that you keep the advanced turnaround group front and center. At Action Industries, the advanced turnaround group, still the same great company that's been around for 42 years at Action Industries, but the advanced turnaround group is a division of Action Industries where they have assembled a core group that has built their career around turnaround execution. It's over at Action Industries.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Wall-to-wall TVs mean you'll see every touchdown in HD. Place your bets and feel the thrill of every play with our DraftKings Sportsbook. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalvr.com.
Mike! Yeah?
New Orleans Saints coverage with some Mad Libs mixed in.
Why don't you just go by Mike?
It's time to talk black and gold with Mike Triplett of New Orleans Football. Presented by Benny's Car Wash. Family owned and operated since 1951.
Going along here, Thursday edition of AFR, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Let's talk some black and gold. Mike Triplett, New Orleans Football on Twitter, at Mike Triplett. Good enough to join us every week here on Thursday's AFR. Mike, we appreciate the time. Hope you had a very Merry Christmas and are enjoying a happy holiday season. How are you?
I did. And to you, thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, Mike, so weird week kind of with the Saints and their practice schedule. I know Darren Rizzi said today that they're kind of treating it like they're preparing for a Thursday night football game. So estimated injury report on Wednesday, official injury report here on Thursday. Not much change there. Let's start with the key guys missing on offense, and let's start with Derek Carr. Spencer Rattler taking first-team reps today. Will start if Carr can't. What's the absolute latest on Carr's status?
Well, I mean, I think not seeing him out there at practice today makes me a little skeptical. I feel like it's kind of as we've reported it all along. It normally would keep him out for the rest of the season, but he was going to try to beat that timetable and play, and so they put him at day-to-day, week-to-week. They said when they think he can function. He keeps getting a little better each week, but, does he come back this week, practice one day, and he's good to go, or I'm a little more doubtful not seeing him out there on the practice field than I was before, but obviously not ruled out yet.
Mike, why even risk it? I mean, and this goes with a lot of them. This goes with Carr. This goes with Kamara. This can even go with Olave. This team's eliminated from playoff contention. I mean, there isn't anything from a tangible goal from a season standpoint they're playing for. Why even entertain the notion of bringing these guys back for 1 or 2 games?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's about the players. Alvin wants to come back. He really wants to come back. He wants those 50 yards. He wants to get to the 1,000. They're all competitors, just like Cam Jordan and Demario Davis want to play, even though there's nothing to play for. Derek Carr wants to play. Chris Olave's situation is a little different. I'm not 100% sure he will play. I'm not 100% sure he definitely wants to play, but I know he wants to be back on the practice field and feeling as good as possible heading into next offseason. But, Carr prides himself on being a guy who comes back from injuries and plays. He probably wants to put one more good game as evidence because there's going to be a new coaching staff probably making a decision about him and his future, along with the front office. It's just these are competitive guys. I mean, the only alternative is the Saints saying, no, you're not allowed to come back. Yeah. We're trying to lose, and we know they're not openly doing it.
No, that's not really their MO here as of late. A couple more on the injury front, Mike. You brought up Chris Olave, and I did want to touch on that because, first of all, it's just awesome to see him back out there in full practice, even if he does not play again. There was speculation on the entirety of his future, so to see him back out there as a full participant is a win for Chris Olave. How has he looked to y'all? Because he was back out there limited a week ago, now on the full, in the open portions. How much have you gotten to see of Olave, and how does he look?
Yeah, we mostly just see walkthroughs and individual position drills when we are out there. And last week he did even a little more than I expected. He was in there with the other receivers doing their drills. Today, though, this is the only day of practice we've seen, and it was very walkthrough today. There was not a lot of activity during the portion we were there for anybody before they started walking through all their plays. They don't let us get to see the actual plays they're installing for games, so that's why it's more limited than usual. And so, he looks good enough to be out there participating, and I see him in the locker room every day. He's not talking to the media right now while he's on IR, but chatting and saying hello and how was your Christmas and all that. So, all of that looks great. He seems to be in good spirits, but, to say, does he look like he's up to football speed, that we're not privy to that kind of stuff.
And then last injury one for you. Lucas Patrick and Eric McCoy out. Shane Lemieux obviously slides in there. How big of an impact is that for the Saints in this game against the Raiders, being without 2 starting O-linemen?
Huge. Eric McCoy has meant more to this team than I ever could have imagined. We see it night and day. We see it. We saw it in the first 2 games when he was healthy, and we saw it in every game after he got hurt in the first series in week 3. We saw it when he came back, and then we saw how much they were hurting again when he left against Green Bay. I think, unfortunately, this has been the most frustrating season in the world for McCoy, and throughout the process, we've all gained a greater appreciation for how damn good he is. Yeah. But it does not look good for him for the rest of the season. Rizzi said it seems pretty doubtful that he's going to play again this year.
That's a bummer, man, because you're right. When they were at their best early, Eric McCoy was obviously one of the linchpins there, and it's just another one in a long line of season-ending injuries for the Saints this year. Okay, switching gears a little bit to the Raiders game on Sunday. We're assuming Derek Carr doesn't play.
You say that so dejectedly and bleakly.
Can you blame me, Mike? Yeah, can you blame me? And it's even worse coming off a 34-0 shutout where it's just like, okay, but look, Spencer Rattler's probably going to get the start under center again. Again, you're coming off a 34-0 shutout where he was constantly under pressure. Was there anything that you did see from him that, rather from those first 3 starts, you're like, okay, that's different?
Unfortunately, no. The jump pass was awesome, but he made a great throw earlier in the game to Foster Moreau, I believe. But you said different, and we've seen that before. We've seen flashes from him. The Washington game was a new level. That opened my eyes. I was like, oh, that's more than flashes. That's 4 straight scoring drives. That's coming off the bench down 17-0 and showing poise. That was something we hadn't seen before. Everything else we've seen from Rattler is undeniable talent and raw, not ready yet examples. And he went back to looking like he has undeniable talent, but he's raw and not ready yet. I mean, obviously the odds were stacked against him. That was a matchup that any quarterback would have gotten blown out in. Losing Aaron McCoy didn't help. He had no receivers to throw to. He had no Alvin Kamara. But, he looked rushed. He made some bad decisions in the pocket. He magnified some issues when the pocket broke down. And so he's still got a lot to climb. But look, I'm still glad. And I think any fan or member of a front office, that's somebody to work with and somebody to keep working with going forward for sure.
That's what I was going to ask you, because it's like, you always hear the question asked. I mean, how different is it, knowing you're going to start the game rather than coming in at halftime in relief? And I mean, you've seen him shine in that role against the Commanders, struggle in the starts. Which one do you think is closer to the actual potential of Spencer Rattler? Is it the second half against the Commanders, or is it the struggles that we've seen from him in the four starts? Excuse me.
Yeah, I mean, you say what's closer to his potential,
right?
And obviously that would mean the upside. That would mean the what you get to. And look, you have to see it. I mean, so it's good that he's shown it. He's shown that it exists and that it's there. But look, the NFL has shown us many, many times that consistency and immediate consistency is one of the hardest traits to find in a young quarterback. And unfortunately for Spencer Rattler, the league has also shown us many times that patience is another thing that teams don't often have with young quarterbacks. I mean, how many Zach Wilson, Will Levis, I mean, the list goes on and on of guys who, if they don't show it pretty quickly, teams move on, or they're doing it for a losing organization and a new coaching staff comes in. So he's going to have to defy the odds, and it's going to have to happen fast. But this was not, it was a fifth-round pick who got thrown into the action a few times this year. This is not final judgment on him at all. Right. But next year might be. He might have to quickly show how much he grows, in that big year two for a young quarterback.
Any chance you think we see Clyde on Sunday?
I wouldn't rule it out, but probably pretty doubtful since they have Kendra Miller, Jamal Williams, and Jordan Mims. That kind of puts him fourth in the pecking order. Maybe they'll want to take a look at him because the whole point of this was to kind of get him in the building and see what they have in him. But if he does, I would think it'd be more of a cameo appearance.
All right. And then you kind of touched on it a little bit when we were talking about Derek Carr, that it might be a new coaching staff. Do you think Darren Rizzi still has an outside shot at this job, or has he just not done enough here down the stretch to really, I'm sure he'll get an interview, obviously, but to be strongly considered?
Yeah, outside chance is probably the right way to put that. I kind of had him before the Packers game at about maybe like one third Rizzi, 2/3 somebody else. And that certainly hurt his case. I mean, the thing that I think he had to do was defy the odds, unfortunately, not just be pretty good at it or a little better than Dennis Allen. And look, all those same factors that are working against Spencer Rattler were working against Darren Rizzi, including having Spencer Rattler a quarterback. So it's not an indictment on him that they got blown out by the Packers. They were supposed to get blown out by the Packers, but he probably needed to come in and do some wildly unexpected things. They almost did that with the comeback against Washington. He's improved his reputation. He is going to get an interview for this job. He might get an interview for another job too. He'll be coveted as an assistant if he doesn't get a job, but the odds are still probably stacked against him. Just history tells us that with interim head coaches.
Chat with Mike Triplett, NewOrleans.football on Twitter, at Mike Triplett, with us every Thursday here during football season on AFR. Mike, last one. If the Saints are to get the win on Sunday against a Raiders team that is not very good, how does it look, and what's your one big key that they have to do in order to get the W to close out the home season at the Dome?
Well, if we're going to look at this matchup,
yeah,
we haven't been doing that a lot this season. Brock Bowers stands out. He's been a sensation this year, not only as a rookie, but just as maybe the best tight end in football this year. And he's going to have over 1,000 catches, way over 1,000 yards. He's the game-breaking threat. I mean, both these teams are bad rushing offense. Well, not the Saints aren't a bad rushing offense when healthy, but they're down to backup running backs on both sides. Not a big threat there. They're down to backup quarterbacks on both sides. Injuries there. Not a lot to get thrilled about. But Brock Bowers and the Saints proven that they can stop a tight end this year. Makes that the obvious matchup to watch.
Saints and Raiders, noon on. I'll try to say it a little more exciting here. Saints and Raiders, noon on Sunday in the Dome, closing out the regular season. Mike Triplett, New Orleans.football, always generous with his time. Mike, we appreciate it, and we'll chat next week previewing the Bucs.
All right, thanks a lot.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to grab a break, but before we do, a word from Scone on Optimize.
We're brought to you by Optimize. Go to generatorpeople.com, generatorpeople.com. You want a Generac automatic home standby generator? Let me rephrase. Of course you do. So why should you go with Optimize? 2 reasons. Number 1, the affordability. They have financing options to fit any budget, and you get your upfront quote price, meaning whatever they quote you on site. It's not like they're going to come back later and there's going to be fees and install fees and techs. And no. Whatever that number is that they quote you, boom, that's it. Turnkey installation. When they're done, it is ready to roll if the power goes out. Number 2, that's all they do at Optimize. They're not an electrical business that does 10 different things. They do one thing. They sell, service, and install Generac automatic home standby generators. They got 4 locations across the 1012 corridor. So it doesn't matter if you're in Lake Charles, Slidell, or any point in between. They are Louisiana's #1 Generac dealer. Optimize. Go to generatorpeople.com. Easy website, generatorpeople.com.
All right, rolling along here on a Thursday edition of AFR presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. A couple more things left to do, including Otter Locks. Jimmy will be with us to close out the show as per usual. Give us what he's betting on tonight. Of course, we have Thursday Night Football, a little NBA. There's plenty to get to on the slate with Otter, so we'll do that to close out the show. We'll grab a break, come back with more on the other side. It's AFR.
AFR.
Man, y'all go check out Duplessis Builders on Facebook or Instagram. Whenever they finish a project, they'll post pictures of their completed project, pictures and videos. Man, they just finished a gorgeous pool for one of their clients, and I could not recommend highly enough you go check it out because you'll see the amazing, gorgeous work that they do, the pristine craftsmanship over at Duplessis Builders. Yes, like we always say, you're going to have this beautiful pool, outdoor kitchen, which differentiates itself from most. But when it comes to Duplessis Builders, the thing that above all stands out is their workmanship. A 10-year workmanship guarantee when the industry standard is 1 year. It's because they don't cut corners. They build something beautiful that's meant to last. It's Duplessis Builders. Online, duplessisbuilders.net, duplessisbuilders.net.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency. The light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Savor game day platters and snacks, plus drink specials at 1717 Kitchen and Cocktail. So come out for
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
Always a pleasure to tell you about our friends at the Williamson Eye Center. Check them out online at williamsoneye.com. They've got locations all over the greater Baton Rouge area. On the Baton Rouge General Campus, you turn off a Bluebonnet onto Picardy, you make that right. And then right there at the stop sign, the building on the right, the first 2 floors, that's the Williamson Eye Center. State-of-the-art dry eye center, and it's full service. Of course, they have their state-of-the-art surgery center there where you can have your LASIK or whatever surgical procedure you're having. But they have your standard annual eye exam as well at the Williamson Eye Center. Learn more at williamsoneye.com. The thing I tell you every day is take the advice that I was given and change your life. To give yourself the gift of sight is absolutely incredible. If you're someone like me who spent your life with contacts or glasses, there is a way to be done with it forever. williamsoneye.com. Go see Dr. Blake Williamson for that free consultation. 924-2020. 924-2020 or williamsoneye.com for the Williamson Eye Center.
All right, we'll wrap up the show with Otter Locks here in the next segment. Musso in for Moscona. Moscona's back on the 2nd, so you'll see him in the new year. You got me the rest of the way here through 2024. And glad to be filling in. Glad to have everybody along for the ride, along for the ride as well, especially thanks to Beck and Taylor for also sticking around and helping make it possible that we can stay on the air here. Guys, how was Christmas?
Christmas was great, Musso. I was telling you during the break. Got a pair of snakeskin boots.
There we go.
We're going, full exotic now. Don't have a pair of snakeskin boots up until now. I could probably got 4 or 5 pair, but they're all basic brown, black leather. So
Okay.
I wasn't expecting it either. So I wanted these, but I told Victoria, I was like, don't spend that much money on boots. Give me a basic pair. Christmas morning, I open them up. They're the snakeskin boots that I want.
There you go. Look at that. See, that's the way marriage is supposed
It's like
to
I
work,
knew what I
Taylor.
was getting,
Yeah.
but I didn't.
But you
know what I
didn't.
mean? Yeah.
I
So-
just little Christmas present to myself. Bought a pair of boots, a new pair of boots a couple days.
Was those the ones I saw on Monday?
They were. Those
liked
are nice little goat skin. Very comfortable.
Goat skin.
Yeah.
Tom Brady sells boots.
No.
Wow,
Not
that's-
different
that's,
goat skin.
I just assumed.
Different goat skin. That was horrible.
Yeah,
by
but
the
say,
way, but it was
where's like the buzzer on this thing?
The buzzer. No, that's
You can, look, if you want to
Okay.
disagree, that's fine.
That was the favorite present, Taylor, was the boots.
Yeah.
All right.
Set of wireless headphones, like Bluetooth
There you
ones,
go.
whatever. I needed a new pair of those.
That's good stuff.
And then just some shirts after
So
that.
those boots are they going to be like your dress boots, like you wear them to fancy occasions?
Yeah, but obviously because of the design, you can't wear them everywhere.
Well, yeah.
So be kind of pick and choose where.
But you're not just going to be wearing these every day.
I don't know. I might wear them tomorrow, honestly.
Oh,
I got to break
okay.
them in.
I think that's true.
I got to break
Gotta
and I'm
break
not
'em
going to
in.
be here as long tomorrow as I was today, so maybe.
Oh yeah, that's right. You're not doing AFR.
No.
We flipped.
Don't do that to me.
We flipped up the schedule there. But okay, all right. Boots, Beck.
I talked about this earlier as well on Hunt and OTB, but I actually got this hat. So
that you're wearing?
Yes. For those listening, it is a U.S. Open golf hat from the 2000 tournament.
Hey.
So I just kind of randomly had acquired 3 or 4 hats from a couple of different U.S. Opens. And so I was like, hey, you know what? Maybe I'll just start trying to collect all the U.S. Open hats. So this is I got this one for Christmas this year. So this is the 2000 U.S. Open at Pebble Beach. That was the year that Tiger just completely dominated, one of the most dominating performances in a golf major. I think he won by like 13 strokes. So pretty cool to have a nice piece of history from that. And then I also got I'm a bit of a vinyl collector in terms of records, and my wife got me a Led Zeppelin record from his original press. So pretty sweet. And as Taylor also made fun of me, I did acquire a firearm. It's a pistol.
Ooh,
it's
what kind?
It's a kind of an old school.
This is where the interesting part comes in.
Okay.
So it's a little bit of an old school kind of a throwback. It was a military. I was using for Czechoslovakian military in like the 80s. It's
not the only one that had that reaction.
Yeah. So the reason
wasn't ready for that.
The reason I got it is because it was pretty cheap. They're known for being like very reliable and accurate, and so it kind of just worked out that way. It's pretty cool looking as well. I'll show you a picture later, but
it fires.
Yes, it does.
Okay.
It was used in the military. So it's had some wear and tear on it, but it still works. So
It didn't have any like tally marks on the barrel or anything.
no
does it?
tally marks. Yeah.
Just asking. It was used in combat.
Well, I don't know if it was or not, but it was in service at some point. But anyway, yeah. So that was pretty cool as well.
I've gotten bad at Christmas. Like, I never know what I want anymore.
And people ask you, and people asking you,
I'm just like, I don't know. Like,
What'd
I don't know.
What'd you get?
Well, so a lot of stuff practical, which was great, and a lot of it's for like new place. Like, I didn't have an iron, so I didn't want an iron because I don't iron. I'm very bad at that. But so like my sister and brother-in-law gave me a nice steamer.
Dude, I have a steamer.
So I was like, I love
every
this.
single day.
Yeah, I was like,
every day.
I was like, I love this. This is fantastic. I needed this. It's practical. I didn't know I was getting it. They thought of it. I was like, yes, all for that. And then outside of that, man, just some more kitchen stuff. Folks are trying to turn me into an actual cook, which I'm not. I can't.
You can do it. You can get there.
I'm not a cook unless it's like grilling or boiling seafood or cereal.
Grilling cereal.
Do y'all ever think about how?
No, just making it.
Do y'all ever think about how we're just old now? Like when we talk about what we get for Christmas, like
Yes.
it used to be so fun and cool, and now we're like, oh, I got kitchen stuff.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Well, look, but I like it. I'm
No,
like,
it's
thank
good,
you.
though.
I needed that.
It is
like,
nice.
That's why I started this. I'm like, I've gotten bad at Christmas. Like when I was a kid, I'd be like, oh, I want this, I want this,
Yeah,
I want this, I want this, I want this. But now you get to an age where it's just like,
man, I need something.
If I want this or I need this right now, I don't have to wait till Christmas. I can go buy it myself.
Yeah.
Like I didn't want to wait until Christmas to get. I could have got the boots for Christmas, but I didn't want to wait, and I was like, well, I can just go buy them. So I did. Like that's kind of the trap I've fallen into. And then it's like I'll think of something like on Christmas Eve or on Christmas Day. I'll be like, did I tell you I needed this?
Yeah.
No, you didn't. Oh, well, rats. I should have, because that would have been a really good thing to do. So, but outside of that, I got a couple really nice new quarter zips, which I'm fired up about.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, y'all know I love me a quarter zip.
Who's so rock a quarter zip?
I will rock one every day if I could, but it gets a little too hot here to do that. But so I got a couple new quarter zips, which I'm fired up about. And
Well, if you keep stocking up, because if I know we've talked about this before, most of us have on air, but if those that don't know, the studio is about 55 degrees for most of the time, so you could just like have a stockpile of quarter zips to wear, where you can wear a different one every day at this point in the studio.
Oh, I think I've reached double digits on how many that I own. I own a lot of them, but varying kinds, like some dressy, some more casual, some like this, just an athletic type deal.
This is technically a quarter zip.
Yeah, so I mean, you know what, Beck? Maybe I'll go home and count them tonight and see just how many. But I've definitely crossed double digits. I have to have crossed double digits there. I love them. They're very comfortable. Because I'm not a hoodie guy, so like I don't. You know, a lot of people who like the big sweatshirts. I'm not a hoodie guy, but I mean, it was good. It was really good. We had a nice I'll tell you what, the star of the show was the 2 different gumbos that I ate.
Were they like competing gumbos, or did it just happen to be?
No. I just
different style, or like what are we talking about?
No. Both turkey and sausage, like just your traditional Christmas gumbo down in Louisiana. It's just I love gumbo. Gumbo is one of my favorites. I say I have 2 foods. They're both seasonal: boiled crawfish and gumbo. So I eat a lot of gumbo. I've had 4 bowls of gumbo in the last 2 days. I'm gonna go home and have more gumbo tonight. I'm fired up about it.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're just. I look forward to it every year around Christmas.
I had some gumbo as well. My stepdad actually, he got the turkey carcass from Thanksgiving.
Oh yeah,
made a stock with that, and then went from there with the gumbo, and it was nice.
Yep, that's what we used to do too. We used to just take the carcass from Thanksgiving, freeze it, and boil it down. But now my brother-in-law just smokes a turkey every time, so it's like, okay, well we'll just use that instead. So it was good, man. It was good. Potato salad in the gumbo or on the side?
I go in, actually.
All right.
I was converted.
So I usually go on the side.
Okay.
I can do either one. It just gets a little, what's the word, soggy for me. I really enjoy potato salad by itself.
Potato salad's very good. Okay.
Most people do.
I go in.
Okay,
Most
so do
people
I.
do.
So do I. Brother-in-law's an on the side guy, and he was like, "You think you're in the majority here, and you're not." I'm like, "I don't know. I kind of think that I am."
I think you're in the majority. I think I'm in the minority.
He's like, "I don't like mayo in my gumbo." I'm like, "Well, that's for preference. I mean, I don't taste mayo in the gumbo. It's fantastic." So.
It's also nice if the gumbo is piping hot. You put you get that.
The little cold.
It makes it chill. It kind of chills it off a little bit.
Yeah, and then make it totally.
It doesn't make it too cold.
It doesn't ruin the purpose of gumbo.
Right,
it's still very good. Yeah, no, I'm totally with you on that. Yeah. Okay. I was just. Thought I'd ask because it was a topic of conversation around the Christmas dinner table for a hot minute yesterday, or Wednesday, I should say. But all right, that's our Christmas. We'll all move on to New Year's. Maybe I don't know who's all in here on Monday. Maybe we'll do New Year's resolutions. Who knows? I hope everyone else out there obviously had a great Christmas, spent it with family. That's we talk about presents and gumbos and all that, but the season is The season is the season, and it's about family and faith and things of that nature. So hope everybody had a great Christmas. We're going to grab a break. We're going to come back on the other side. We're going to close out this Thursday edition of AFR. We are presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Otterlocks is next to wrap up your Thursday.
After further review.
We're brought to you by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com. Rouse's, y'all. Rouse's is, God, such a great place for all of your Christmas parties, your holiday parties, your office parties. If you're having a get-together, let Rouse's Catering help. Every time we go do remotes at Rouse's, they're so awesome. The caterers will come out with these trays of the boudin or the catfish or the little, what do you call the little fried the boudin balls? That's what they are, little fried boudin balls. Oh my goodness, the mini muffalettas, the chicken fettuccine. I'm telling you, if you need to feed your whole family, extended family for a holiday party, your office, let Rouse's help you with catering. It's so easy. Go to Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com. You can go to the Rouse's app or walk into any of the Rouse's location. It's Rouse's, the official supermarket of the Saints.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Wall-to-wall TVs mean you'll see every touchdown in HD. Place your bets.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalvr.com.
Glad you're with us. We're brought to you by DraftKings, by the way. Y'all, it's the most wonderful time of year. We're getting all the hoops, football, and hockey action at DraftKings Sportsbook. If you want to bet on it, do it at DraftKings. And here's a gift for all new customers. You can bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets if your $5 bet wins. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the code Baton Rouge. One word, Baton Rouge. Again, that's code Baton Rouge for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins when you bet just $5. Happy holidays from DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER, 1-800-426-2537. 21 plus, physically present in Louisiana. Select parishes only. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive reward. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Licensee partner Golden Nugget Lake Charles.
Now, sometimes the commercial log just falls the right way. DraftKings read, and that leads us right into Otter Locks. Hit it, Bet.
Otter Locks.
All right, time to win some money.
Presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
I think it's safe to say that I won the bet.
So we welcome in our guy, the Yacht Father, Jimmy Yacht. Otter, hope the Christmas in the Yacht household was fantastic. How are you?
Good, man. A little tired after all the cooking and drinking and eating and all that stuff. So, yeah. Santa's tired, Musso.
He did come to town, though, Otter. He did come to town.
Yes, he did. He did. So.
All right. What are we looking at tonight here on a Thursday? Thursday Night Football, what we got?
Man, they just had a first money line dog hit with Toledo. Former Zachary star Eli Holstein in the booth. Yet he didn't play, and it caught up with them. What, at 8-7 or 8 overtimes? I lost track, but Toledo does win it outright. In Rutgers just scores with 4:45 to go in half. They're up 24-17, catching 7.5 over Kansas State. So. Dogs looking good so far today, but in this game with Bowling Green and Arkansas State, we're going to go with Bowling Green here. It's laying a bunch of points at 10 points, but the tight end is outstanding. He's the offensive player of the year in the MAC fan, and he's probably going to be a second-round pick. And former Missouri and Indiana quarterback Bazelak, he's playing tonight too. It wasn't that long ago that Bowling Green was playing Akron. Both teams were 0-10, in the game. So big turnaround. But my point of bringing that up is they're excited to be here.
Yeah.
So motivation, that is 75% of the bowl game, handicap. And so going to lay the chalk in Bowling Green minus the 10.
All right. You staying completely away from Bears Seahawks? That doesn't get you going tonight, Otter?
Oh, boy. boy. It's a tough one. I do want to give one out tomorrow. We got it much earlier, but Navy kicks off at 11 tomorrow, so we are going to take the middies plus the 3. We talked about the quarterback back. When he was out, they got knocked out in the first quarter against Tulane. They got shut out there. They got shut out the first half of the East Carolina game before they got going in that one. But we got. I usually bet the military school is blind. I'm taking them here again. Navy, no opt-outs there. They're excited to play. We're going to take them in that one. I'm going to go with the Bears plus the points at home. Quick turnaround advantage against for Chicago there. Finally, they scored at the in the first half this past week against Detroit. But Seattle, that's a big number on the road. Geno Smith, he's good for an interception every game. So I don't know if do you have that? It could be a drop. So
you're talking about Geno to over half interception?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So if we got that one,
that's what I'm trying to find the odds on it.
Yeah. So I've got the yards, the touchdowns. Here you go. Interceptions over under. It is minus 120.
Okay.
On the over. So yeah, we're going to take that one also. So in a couple NBA games tonight, I've been riding the team, the Hawks. Hawks made a little run in the NBA tournament. They're healthy again, and I had them last Monday night down at Beau Rivage. We're gonna ride them again tonight. So the Hawks in that one, and then another team that's kind of gotten a little
1 minute remaining.
Gotten on a little roll lately, and that's the Pacers. Pacers catching 5 at home tonight. I like them straight up and plus the points. So they're playing really well right now. OKC has been a darling. They've been very good, but that line's just too big. That line should be much closer to pick them. Going to take the 5 at home and a money line shot.
Double dip there with the Pacers. Otter, where are you tomorrow? Rufino's. It's Friday.
Rufino's Friday. So 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. We'll have all of our cast of characters giving out all the bowl picks and the playoff picks as well for the guys that are on weekly. So tomorrow at Rufino's, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Y'all get over and see Ott and Hanny at Rufino's. Otter, we appreciate it as always, man. Thank you.
All right. Good luck, Moose.
Good luck. That's going to wrap it up. Bowling Green minus the points. Navy plus the points, along with the Bears plus the points. Geno Smith over half interception. Hawks and Pacers. We'll see you tomorrow on AFR.
After further review.
Brought to you by Evermore, all natural, great tasting water. When you uncap a bottle of Evermore, that's the first time the product touches air. It's incredible. It's a natural well. It's natural artesian water. It's a well. It's on the North Shore. I went to their bottling facility. When you pull up on the left, you'll see the well is right there. They've drilled deep into the earth. They pipe it out right into their filters and their filtration system. Nothing is added. Nothing is extracted. It is completely pure from the earth water. So if you want a healthier option, if you want a healthier lifestyle, something healthier for your children, maybe you're an athlete that wants a superior form of hydration, Evermore, EVAMOR. If you notice, go to their website, you'll see Dak Prescott is one of their chief spokespeople. I mean, starting NFL quarterback is vouching for it. Check it out at great local retailers or order on their website at EVAMOR.com, Evermore.com, Evermore.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process